Technology.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. We're having trouble with our Zoom stuff today, trying to get it figured out, so just be patient. And the same thing, if you're gonna be on Zoom, you have to be on video. But we'll go ahead and get started, and Miranda's still working on it, and everything will be fine. Thank you. All right, so go to the board of minutes for April 29th.
I make a motion, we accept the board minutes from April 29th, 2025.
I'll second it.
Public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries pass. We'll go ahead into the correspondence.
That's cool.
The first one from Kayla Sanders on declined on their local innovations NTI application. They were unsuccessful in their application for the local innovations NTI funding. Don, she says. That's when we give them the letter of support. Next one's from Mako, and it's on the active building report. This is just giving us an update on the telling us thanks for being a Mako property and casualty trust, and we're talking to them today about the property and stuff. And this one's already on the agenda for this afternoon. Keep that out, go over, they got price and stuff, but they're gonna give us the update and everything. Next one's from TCS North on the prime contract change order, a sump pump. It'll be $6,000 for a sump pump that's put in. Labor, excavating, digging, rebar to be bent, concrete forming. It must be out here in this back where we're gonna fix that. I guess that's where it'd be. The sump pump, so if we get water, we can pump out, we don't flood, unless it's in the basement. I don't know, we can talk to them, but we can call them and find out for sure. The next one's gonna be,
Thank you.
it's from the International Union of Operating Engineers, and it's, in accordance with terms and conditions of the agreement which exists between Granite County Road Department and operating. We hereby request that the agreement be open for the purpose of negotiating. Contact Megan Yost. You will set up a time and start talking to them. This is something that we better, if we're gonna. When you mentioned the other day, Paul, about 1 to 5 days, that this is the time we're gonna have to figure out, cause they said we can't, cause it's in agreement already, so this is. What, and the
5 days for what? For
work, yes,
Winter work.
what?
Winter work.
Oh, instead of
410s.
the 410s.
I don't think it worked out very well this year.
this is when, and somebody, I was on that, I think if somebody else wanted to be on, Blanche sat in for me the one time, cause I wasn't here. On negotiations with,
Oh, I
you, I thought you did. That, anyway, we'll put it on, we can put it on the agenda and pop out and see what they're bringing to the table, but we leave that up to them, they have to bring it to us, right? So if they want more, they got a date, so.
It'll be on there doing that.
So I thought we did, we only did 4 cans during the winter months from October through, and then we get permission to keep it at 4 cans with the union thing. And so it would, I think that's all we'd have to do, correct, is just tell them we're gonna go back to 5 days in the winter time.
Yeah, from October to,
Yeah,
what is it, April 1st or
Yeah.
whatever.
I think that's all we have to do, but we
Yeah.
can put them on, I don't know what they, and then they're talking about negotiating, I don't.
cause it seems to me, because I know Paul requested that we stay on 4 10s. And then he changed the shifts to where someone would be
Right.
there. But if you feel it's better with the 5 days during winter
I
time,
think we got better coverage if it snows, and then they still gotta come in on weekends anyways if it
Yeah.
snows, so.
Yeah.
I think something to look at, to go back to the 5 10s and then 2 guys for on call, and, you know, do a rotation for on call for the weekend like it was.
and then you're looking at the way it has been, is there was 3 on Fridays and 3 off. It was Tuesday through Friday and Monday through Thursday for the 4 10s in the winter.
It just seemed like I got a lot of calls on Friday because guys couldn't cover because were shorthanded.
Yeah. That
I
makes
think-
sense.
Yeah, so I think,
That
yeah,
really
that's
makes
something
sense,
that we
yeah.
really need to bring up, and then. Like right now during the summer where we got more daylight now, they just did 4 10s are actually getting more done.
Yeah.
Right.
So that, yeah, I told you. Okay, so we'll put that on the agenda, I guess what date did they say on that? Sorry. Did they go? I think I've seen that other, we can get a.
Yeah.
We can get ahold of Miranda, if you could email that,
Right.
Megan, and then they can set up, cause it's up to them to, then they bring a proposal or whatever they think.
To a meeting.
She'll set up, or they might even do it over Zoom.
Okay.
I've never met her, there used to be a guy.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the next one's from Cameron Razor on the Forest Service. The week of June 2nd, they're gonna apply gravel and grade Lake Shore Drive. Good. That's awesome, thanks. Maybe we'll send a letter to Cameron saying thanks for,
Do you say how much gravel?
no. I think they're sticking by, I hate to say that money thing, cause they were saying that he said 20, he never did, he said 10, so. He's probably staying with that $10,000, which better than nothing, they ain't gonna go very far, but.
So like what it says is scheduled to apply, and it doesn't say a certain area, it says gravel and grade, like for
So are they gonna grade it then, or?
one time, and then it says this, well, I guess you can read it.
Then we'll figure out what we're gonna
What we're gonna do for,
next one's from Deb Robinson. And it's attach you will find a new contract for immunization. It does show our expected cuts and looks good to me. I think the commission needs to look at it to approve for signature. Once it's approved, I will let DPHHS know and they will forward to Scott for signature, Debbie. So if you guys will. Sounds like it's something we need to get done right away, so if they wanna look at it, we can,
So this isn't anything that we have put on the agenda, we can just go ahead and sign
She
it
wants
now.
us to just look over and then they would go ahead, just, once we get started here, we can make a motion, go ahead and accept it. I'll get through the rest of this. And the next one from the Granite Justice Court. Then. On this next one, it's from Gary L. Snyder. I don't think I'll read it at this time out loud, I think we'll wait and do it at 10:20. Cause then we need to get professional, like, Yeah, advice,
That's-
because so I'll just hold this back.
Okay.
And then come on, 20, and we'll have a few things to. Okay, that was it for correspondence, any public comment on correspondence? All right, seeing there's none, we're not quite sure if our computer's working up to date yet, so if somebody has a problem, they may call on the phone, let us know, but as of right now, it looks like it's starting to work. But you have to be on Zoom if you wanna be on,
I have my camera on
I see you, okay?
just to show that we're here.
Technical difficulty day.
All right, well, thanks, everybody, we'll go ahead and. We'll go ahead into public comment on matters of commissioner's jurisdiction. Any public comment?
So. Yeah.
Yeah, wait.
I know, I bet.
Yeah, if you got any public comment, you can come up, state your name and, or ask us whatever.
You can appreciate that, I don't live with them.
Fine, I think we can go ahead and make a motion that we can go ahead and sign that for Deb Runs, so we can get that in.
I'll make the motion to sign the new contract for 2025 for immunization.
I'll second it.
Public comment on it? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Alright, motion carried.
Bye.
The whole sheet. Just a small post.
I see, yeah.
I guess we get a minute there, around it's just one signature,
Mhm.
if you email or text
Yep.
her, cause I don't know if she's coming up today or something.
Okay, yeah, and I can scan
She
it.
needs it like right away, if he's going down, it could drop from it,
I
but
think she's on a call at 10. I'll let you know.
They got about 7 inches at Peterson Meadows on Sunday night.
looks good.
Still like 9 inches.
Go ahead, Elena, you have to be on video.
Okay, I'm trying to turn my camera on. Just a minute, I'm trying, okay? In the meantime, for the record, I don't see anybody else's camera except Blanche's.
That's cause we're having technical difficulties, right when we started, I mentioned we're trying to get it fixed, just asking for
think
pay.
so. If you're on, Blanche is on, the other two should be on. If you turn your cameras on, please, I'm trying. Blanche has, no problem.
You're not letting me finish, I was trying to explain to you and you just keep interrupting me, but you have to be on video. We're not gonna get into this.
Okay, fine, I'm saying, how come you two guys aren't? And don't tell me there's something wrong, because if Blanche is on it, so can you. Gee, I have problems with my camera, but I'm denied. But you two?
I'm not gonna hear this big argument. Once you get set up there, then we can get that whatever owl thing back, see if it's, cause when she turned it on earlier, it was messing it up, didn't it?
Mm-hmm,
I'm not lying, I'm not gonna be called back.
yeah, and I emailed her already.
I'm good emojis.
So just for the record, I turned my camera on my laptop. Paul and Scott are on the Owl, and the Owl is the equipment that we're having problems with. So I went ahead and turned my camera on just so that you'd know that we're here.
Thank you for explaining that, that's what I was gonna try to do, but I've been interrupted. Any other public comment?
Put that in 75.
Yeah.
Brandon.
Brandon.
Yes, thank you.
What you drinking, no?
It's called a vodka nurture. Alrighty, it's any other public comment? Okay, we'll go ahead and move ahead to weekly report with Road and Bridge Superintendent Paul, solid waste weekly report too.
I'm just back to Bladen and cold patching yesterday was kind of a, obviously extremely wet day and the roads are still awful wet, but we're moving around a little bit trying to get some spots. But other than that, that's just about it. Just about to start making a circle again, going back over everything. It's supposed to be a pretty good dried out week this week until Sunday and then more snow and rain, but
June 2nd, Cameron gave us a week of June 2nd, they're gonna try to lay some gravel and spread it up there in Lake Shore, just like give you heads up.
I know that.
Okay. We just got it, so.
I don't know much, what gravel they're putting on, does anybody know how much?
Nobody knows yet, he said, $10,000, that's all they're allowed for everything, so I don't know how much that would be in gravel, how much that's in clay or what, so. You might call and ask him and go from there.
I've got the little pre-trip books for equipment came in. I forgot them, but I had them tomorrow morning, so I'll drop them off here in the office. If you're wanting to try and pick them up tomorrow.
All right,
I guess I still got all the other pre-trip books for trucks too that I double ordered. Where are we storing those at? Shops or here or?
No.
Next
maybe
Miranda?
they'll get there, they're going to Brandon's desk.
Yeah,
It's on the room right
You
there.
just got a pile of more FEMA stuff
Yeah.
and FEMA maps, where you
Oh,
run.
if they got here, we can pick them up, take them to the shop.
There's a lot of them.
Just put them at the shop on your way by, Missoula.
Yeah.
Then that way he can put them in half and half, whatever. Yeah, we got so much stuff in here, no.
Yeah, I do that. I mean, if you guys want to drop off at a shop, like drop half off up here and half
Either
off
way.
at the,
That works for you, if you drop them off here, we'll pick them up, whatever you wanna do. They shoot me a text.
I might just do a double deal because probably need a dolly to get them in. There's lots of boxes.
Oh, is there?
I double ordered on accident. I thought I ordered the equipment ones too, I double ordered DOT truck ones.
So we should have enough.
There's probably 2 years worth.
We have a new guy to accepted the job too. So. He's already had 2 days, he had Thursday and then today, or yesterday, so. Pretty excited to go to work.
Yeah, we need to get oil and stuff, get dirt passing, but there's no funds for that. So what do we do about that?
Know what for what?
There's no money for oil, for dirt patching. So do we gotta wait till the new budget comes in July, or what do we?
So here's the deal. When you need materials, you need materials. And what we're doing is we're looking at where we're at right now and the budget is hurting right now, but you can't not order your materials. So we just need to sit and look at that budget. So just carry on. And right now, the bottom line budget is not in the negative. So there's a way you can line item transfer when at the end of the year. So as far as supplies go, I think you need to make sure you order your supplies.
We talked about that, I think.
Yeah.
No, otherwise the history stuff.
That's one of the things that I think that we need to realize is that the supplies is, and the maintenance stuff is not where you make the cuts. I mean, you've gotta have your supplies and your maintenance. The cuts are gonna have to be made in other areas, which we're gonna have to look at.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure
Yeah,
that we're at.
yeah.
So.
I think we're all, yeah, no, he put it right out, we're gonna talk about it again, but no, we gotta keep moving ahead and we'll, exactly what you said.
Hi, Blake.
Wonderful.
What's it look like for Meg this year, is it gonna be hard to get to, or?
You know, according to them, we'll be able to get it, so. Not positive on a price increase, but everything's gonna go up. Our dirt patch oil is supposed to right now is staying the same, which is good. But as we all know, that could change next
Yeah,
week.
Can you get a locked price for Meg right now?
I can ask them, I don't think they'll do it. Because of the fuel increase,
Right. Or, I mean, if we need Meg, might as well just order it now then, right?
already did.
Oh, okay. But we just don't know what the price is.
We have, what's that?
We just don't know what the price is though.
It's the same as last time,
Oh, yeah.
for right now. But if fuel and stuff goes up,
Right.
you know, then it'll go according to that, but as it stands right now, it's supposed to be relatively the same.
Yeah, maybe look into see if we can get a lock deal, contract signed or whatever for that price through them.
I'll ask them today.
And they brought that truck home. I mean, that's
Yeah.
your report.
Yeah, we got the truck home now, we're just gonna get it finished with the rest of the stuff, and,
The snowplow truck.
yeah,
Finally got it done.
Good.
Seems to run all right.
yeah.
Made it home.
Man, I heard it.
You were on the backhoe?
It's done. Just delivered it this morning and, we're taking the one back to Cat, right?
That's really
It's
good.
done for now, and I stress for now.
See how long it'll make it?
Yeah,
Well, that boom's been welded a couple times, that's kind of getting,
well. Just fatigue more you weld, but it's just the way it is. I won't be here next week. I was wrong on the last one.
That's what we're ahead of us.
Couple of commissioners are fatigued too.
You're not listening. I better be listening, cause they're picking on you and me.
No, I'm feeling it.
sorry. Not paying
That's good you
attention.
were paying attention.
Okay, what was the joke?
Or fatigue.
Fatigued?
You mean.
We are. We
We
said-
can't.
No, I looked at him.
Thought you said a couple of commissioners. Not one.
I was about to say.
And he had his blinder up on that side. But anyway, other than that, can't think of anything. I didn't know if the kid comes back, that John Hunter was asking if they could just hit that just a little bit there. At the bottom that washed out. I think
It
that was
just dries out a little bit. Yeah.
okay, I think
Right,
I
on that.
cut that a little bit, yes.
Yeah, I'll have to go up there when he, on his way back through, but, toward the end of the week for sure.
Okay.
We're trying to get Gillespie right now. It's steep enough that most of the water's, it'll run off, but.
We gotta have to go down there, did that hill come down, do we get more riprap out of there this year, or is it?
Not yet. That's
The
good.
hill there just kind of feeds us riprap.
Right.
Pretty good.
When I found that pipe, that they were talking about up at the mall. The university's pickup was parked on top of it when, last time I was up there,
Wow.
but they walk into that deal, that's why I didn't see the last time.
I'm blocking.
But this morning, I
Said it wasn't just a little bit tore up, I don't.
it's not, it's not full picture.
They got that other one fixed, so. I guess that's about, you got anything else?
That culvert went in all good, that was last week, right, last Tuesday?
Yeah,
Well, that other one looks like, wow. Can't believe it lasted.
yeah, not very good. Pretty
Black,
run out.
Blackfoot going down county roads, or they about done?
No, they still got
Or
more going on, they gotta tear up East Fork again,
oh, yeah,
all the way
that's
down
right.
to Elk Creek.
Did we
There's
get
some stuff
paid
in
for
there.
one?
Not that I know of, not yet. I
Or
think
that 13,000,
we got 8,000 and we're 1,300 and something short.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's just time for a letter to go to them.
Did you?
Yeah,
I mean, we've
Good.
gone on, what's this, 5 weeks now?
to
It's been over a month.
JB Ray, or who do you want to go to?
Well, I think we have to go to Blackfoot, so we'll get out in the middle of that other, it
So
should be up to them. to-
It's 1,300 still owed,
Yeah, 1,350 or something.
13.
Then she's got the exact.
That's there, okay. All
I
right,
think we might as well get a letter to them, and get it wrapped up, and from now on, if we have to get it from them, we're not dealing with their
Yeah.
contractors, the Dutch
And-
Creek company.
and this was from the,
This was last year.
from Maxwell Road, or,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, they're supposed to, they were supposed to have paid. Oh, before it snowed. So, what we talked about in that letter was that, the county isn't supposed to be chasing their
Yeah.
contractor's money.
Yeah.
That's
That
why
should,
problem.
and,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I think as long as you're writing a letter, why don't you add in the weed and the spray? So we can get it, cause that just keeps going around
Yeah,
and
but
around too.
Dollar amount on that, or,
What's that?
yeah, oh, that they're gonna pay for it, or do
They're
it?
supposed to do it.
Okay.
And they
They're
have,
supposed to,
What roads?
All
the name of them.
all the county roads, and Jason's the one that's heading that, so
Alright,
he's the one saying that he's gonna get us a plan.
what's his last name?
Robertson.
Robertson.
they might as well get it out quick, because we need to get throwing some grass seed and spray that. People are already complaining.
We can't keep going, we'll know next week,
Okay, so seeding it and weed spray.
yeah.
Alright.
And what Jason's told me is those guys have a plan. But we've been waiting for the plan.
Alright,
And as far as when they can go up to the East Fork again, I'm just gonna have to work with the people that are contractors that are working at the East Fork Dam. So if they're running a bunch of trucks or something in there, they can't be tearing that road up. They'll just have to work together, and I talked with Blackwood about that already, and they're all good with that, however, we can make it work, so. Just because you don't want the road tore up and then have a whole bunch of extra traffic.
Right.
Other than that, that's about all I got.
Solid waste, all good?
Chaos is soon to come.
Is it just a pain to have extra bins down there, or you know, where they can dump?
You have no room, you can't
That way
move,
they just kind of play it by,
you know,
and then it's up to us to call them, then if they have them, they'll bring them, is that the way?
well, we're kind of on a schedule, they know when they're coming.
And
It
if
is a
we're
rule,
gonna get busier and busier, and just like the other day, you know.
there's nothing else you can do about it.
I didn't know if they could leave it, I thought they used to be able to leave one over there, but all that iron and stuff, they just piled up there, they could haul it to town, we have one
The
more.
iron, yeah, that's a different deal.
Camper and stuff there, I guess, cause that's where they used to leave one.
Yeah, we've got a compactor, we change out with the compactor and they bring in the other ones and they're on schedule, that's why we make it so that if they're bringing a trailer. Anything big in, they've got to call. A day ahead of time, so there's room for it or not. And
That's why I was just wondering if we could, cause I know they used to bring one and leave it there, but if you're out of.
they're not that easy to change either, then, you know.
I know.
Like Beaver, there's no room for Beaver. The truck can't even get by. It needs to be extended. And Beaverville, it gets a lot more garbage than drop. You know, there's a lot more people, you know.
Right.
And it'd be nice to extend that and have an extra dumpster in there. But
Towards the burn pit.
it'd be the only way, you know, you'd have to excavate that out and. The way to, would be to put a garbage dumpster where the iron one is, and then move the iron one that's smaller, move it back. We tried to do it on the end, cause there's already concrete there. But you just can't, you can't get a truck in there, there's just as many room, super tight. And then obviously the burn pit, the burn pile area is already too small.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room there.
No. It'd be nice if we could burn somewhere else, like up where the junk cars are. You know, make an area up there that we can burn, but I don't know how that plays out.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, we could look and see where we got room up there, and then might have to scrape it off and make it, or get somewhere up there, just for.
It would help so much if we
Maybe
could
look it over and bring it in next week, and
just,
we'll find out what the state says, how much area they need there for the junk cars.
that's all we need to figure out, that we can figure that out.
We gotta go through Sarah and find out for sure if she can get the rules on that, and just see if we can. Or, you know, it's our ground, but if we can keep them down lower up against that fence.
Cause they're gonna walk
They
on
get,
the low anyway.
they get them strung out, I mean, all the way up to there, just. Maybe gotta find out. for
So
sure.
there's a survey of that, isn't there?
I think so.
Yeah. Look at that
But
survey.
they come down, does the state come grab junk cars once a year or?
No, it was, this last time it took about 5 years.
Oh, really?
They have to have so many cars there, they're not getting as many as they used to, you know, everybody's gotten rid of them, because when the price of iron is up every holiday, and
Oh, man.
usually just.
And if they got, just say they were getting kind of tight on room, we could take a loader in there too and stack them up, you know.
Yeah.
I'd really look at that now, Sarah, maybe we'll find that out, and then that'd be quite a bit more room, and maybe make it work a little better, get more garbage, it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't have the room for all the mixed burn piles that runs in, nowhere close.
So yeah, that survey encompasses quite a bit, so probably look at that and just see where everything is actually sitting. And you should be able to switch things around.
We could, right up the golf strip, as soon as you go, you know, all the cars are always off to your right. And, you know, we can take the cat level, some of that off, get rid of that dirt. And burn it, we can make a damn good burn pile in there. It's just that, you know,
Just look it over and figure it out, and then bring it back to us and look at that survey.
that's their, if they have to have so much room.
Well, I don't know if they do or not, but they had some stakes up there, we had to keep cars in there, I think this so they did get spread out, I don't know if that was from somebody before. Jody might have put them in there just so, that, you know, they're back.
And God would know,
Irrigation ditch is on the lower side of the road, right through there.
yeah,
Alrighty, well,
unfortunately.
go ahead and we'll bring something back on that and start looking into it. Other than that, is there any public comment for Paul? Nope. Keep plugging along. Thanks.
To you guys, thank you.
Have a good one.
2 weeks, right?
Yeah,
2 weeks,
yeah.
yay.
Alrighty, so a couple minutes early, but we'll go ahead into the dam tenders report. It's sitting at 6428.99, 6.12 below full, where last week were 7.2. And Paul adjusted it yesterday, was it? Or what? Oh, come on. Oh. See, what you put it to?
We're right around 30 CFS.
30?
Yeah, according to the charts we have on the USGS charts, we were like at 27.
So when does it go to 35 on the 15th?
What's that?
We're supposed
It
to
was a
35 on the 15th.
30. Oh. Goes to 30 CFS, but
Oh, 30,
unless you have a temporary modification, which
right,
you're gonna,
We're
yeah,
gonna be-
according to all the models, it'll be above that. Or if it's full, then or then it's not temporary modification.
Like Paul was saying, you know, we got Peterson Meadows, got a whole bunch.
Got 8 inches.
Yeah, I believe it.
Snow.
Couldn't see Rosie Mountain all day yesterday, so later
Yeah.
afternoon.
We lost like 10% of Freeport yesterday that we got left. And you know, one thing we should compare to like last year. Say like mid-April. We were releasing 20 CFS and last year we were releasing 27 CFS. You know, on the average, last year we were releasing 25 and this year on the average of 20. So just kind of catch it up and bring it down.
That's where they can kind of dictators tell us what we try to go up and then they won't, and then we gotta stay what we're at, and now they're using the inflows or the outflows, and it seems like we're always fighting back and forth trying to make it work, and it's not.
Yeah.
I guess I'd entertain a motion what to do.
so
I,
Man. You said that,
inflows to outflows. Outflows to.
is Brad on?
Peter Brown,
Here,
There's some dog on there, who's that?
Trish
Oops.
Schreiber.
Oh. Trish Schreiber, you met her a few weeks ago, she was in here.
oh, there we got Peter,
And who's the guy?
this guy, Peter from
Peter
FWP.
Brown.
Oh. What's your comment? Peter, you said?
Yeah. So I'm at headquarters, I'm the Habitat Bureau Chief, and I defer to Brad's suggestion, but yeah, if you're at 30 now and it's coming in at 27, I think there's going to be more water coming in sooner than later. So yeah, 30 seems reasonable for now. But like I say, I'd defer to Brad if he gets on here or if you hear from him within the next, day or so.
Well, I think, yeah, that's what we're keeping that inflows or the outflows, but he's saying we're between 27 and 30, so.
USGS is showing outflows at 27.
Yeah, on the charts that I
Yeah.
have.
So, yeah, so we're a little below 30.
On the website, it shows we're at 31.2. And last year this time it shows 28.3. And it goes right to the top. And we have a lot more snow this year.
Coming out, yeah.
And it's supposed to get really warm this week too, even at low temperature, 40s.
We definitely wanna keep it at 30 for sure.
Can we do 30 without having to get permission or?
But so far, they've been agreeable to outflows equaling inflows, and so, yeah, I assume so, we can follow up with them.
He's saying talk to Brad. Well, what's your thought? If we stay at 30, are you gonna be good with that?
Yeah, like I say, I if we're right in that range of inflows matching outflows, I think, yeah, 30 would be okay. But again, I'd defer to Brad.
I'll motion to stay at 30 and increase it if need be this week.
To stay with inflows.
Mhm.
I'll second that.
Any other public comment on that? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Thanks for coming in, Paul. I think, yeah, we're gonna, from now and the next couple, 3 weeks, we're gonna have to really watch.
Yeah.
Watch elevations, which fell can get so.
Where are we, 6 inches below
6 inches roll.
the ice off? Yeah.
Yeah, that storm sunk it all.
Really?
Gone.
Oh, wow.
I'm glad it's going in the ground, but I'm kinda worried what's gonna be coming, because you get back to this. Still want to know.
Sure you had some heavy snow then, huh?
Yeah, like at my house, there's like 6 inches on the heavy wet stuff and most of it's still there this morning. So
It's still white up high.
Yeah,
Yeah, just keep an eye on, keep like you did, thanks for texting us, let us know. Just gonna have to work together here pretty close now, this next couple of weeks or better.
yeah, just call me if you have to.
Okay, thanks, Paul,
Alrighty.
thanks for
Okay.
coming in, Paul.
thanks, have a good one.
See you, Paul.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so go ahead and move on to the culvert versus Granite County.
How about this letter? That's in the dam tenders report. Letter to governor's office.
Didn't even see it, sorry.
But that was for the next one,
So, let me give the background on this a little bit.
Yeah.
please.
So, I mean, you as county commission were frustrated with, Fish, Wildlife and Parks basically having a veto power there and they don't put any financial resources into the dam, but, ran it by, Matt Williams, who's the attorney for, Thunder Hydro. His thought was going to the governor's office and see if they could help, so we drafted this letter, just a draft. You guys are like it, or we can change it?
I think it's a good letter. No problem with it. Actually,
I make a motion that we send this letter to, Governor Gianforte on our issues with some creek dam project.
Second that.
public comment? Give none, all in favor?
Send a
Aye.
copy to Alex and I'd just recommend that you send a copy to Alex and Brad if you can, and Pat, maybe.
Yeah, a copy of this to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get them one.
I'll copy everything on seven,
Yep.
I can also the FWP.
I thought that was on a different time. I thought that was on a
Oh.
different time. I read that. He sent me the stuff and I thought I'd.
Yeah, I thought it was a separate deal.
You know, snuck it in there, so.
No, that's fine. I guess I should have looked a little closer there.
As just watching.
Then you're watching us.
I'm watching.
You know anything about this Cobra thing? Go to federal case? Looking at my stuff.
Yeah, I didn't print out all the summons. It's a lot of paperwork, but he'll fill you in.
Yeah, I think that's attorney stuff.
It's
there.
attorney stuff.
No,
Thank
email
you.
and I'll email.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to the Cobra, and then would you, could you give us, explain this one?
Yeah, so, as you know, the, county had in the county jail in 2022, there was a suicide. So, had a coroner's inquest on it. Thought we weren't gonna get sued, but yeah, the county was named in the lawsuit, the federal district court. And so, talked to Mako, there is insurance defense and indemnification, and so they're gonna handle, you know, the attorney assigned to is Dylan Gallagher, so I've talked to him a couple times and getting him all the information.
Thanks.
You know, during that time, even before that time, we'd already put it out for bids for the padded cell. That was I don't think the, sheriff's office did anything negative, so we'll see.
When's
Cases
the
like
court
this.
date?
No, we haven't filed the answer yet, so no, scheduled court dates yet. I have to get the answer filed. Got any questions?
So who filed this? The federal court?
It was,
Filed it?
well, it was his estate
Oh, his
So,
estate
filed
filed.
it, yeah, the attorney is, Wagner Law Firm in Missoula. I'm not sure who the personal representative of the state, because he was divorced, so, it was his ex-wife or child or whatever.
Anything else on that? Thanks, Blaine.
Yep.
All right, we got a couple minutes ahead. We'll go ahead and the Pittsburgh Cemetery Board member application, Jim Walbillen.
I make a motion, we accept Jim Walbill's application to be on the Phillipsburg Cemetery Board. District.
I'll second that.
Public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Signed the wrong thing.
And that
Who resigned off the board, or was there just a?
You just have.
vacancy,
yeah, there's no vacancies.
All right, so we're a few minutes ahead.
so one question would be when that term ends, but do you have that info?
I think they're all October. I
Okay,
don't know how long this term is, so I'll have to look at that.
all right.
So is it a new term or is it finishing somebody else's term?
New. This will be.
Okay. So how many years? Usually,
It was 2 or 3, that's done.
I'm
Somewhere.
assuming 3. If that's look that up, if you don't
which is good
have
because
it. Yeah,
hard to fill that. It's
yeah,
Yeah, 3-year terms. Only in October.
You did or?
You,
that'd be good. He's experienced on board. Be good to have one. I'm assuming they ask him to be on there even, or, yeah.
Who else is on the board?
Danette Latre.
Matt?
Matt's
Max,
secretary.
so,
Just lost it. Dana, Danette. Allison Cash. in Mountain Tree and now.
Oh, yeah, we just had it further on.
Even if the voice. Thank you.
See what I did?
Nice job.
I couldn't get the printer to cooperate, so I.
Now we can put that new guy's name in there too. We should put that new guy's name in there too.
Mhm.
Fine.
Yeah.
No, I don't do it, nice job.
Talk to you guys in the other agenda.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
What did we say?
Yeah, talk to us about that.
Oh, okay.
Get a little bit ahead or something for it. Prepared. Did you look over this lease at all lunch
So that,
for the hospital?
same as last year, or the year before, or whenever.
I don't see, can't find nothing that's really changed, I don't see no changes. There's so much there, I don't know if I missed something, but maybe if they keep coming in,
I don't know, we dropped that off last week.
because we're on the proposal, it shows that, and then on that blue page is the one I was reading, that.
Who has the original?
I don't know.
Blaine?
I don't
That's
think
all I
so.
got.
That's all he got, that's why I was wondering, that's why I thought maybe everybody got something, but see, he takes it and signed it.
Yeah, it was sealed.
See, it was a seal, the window was.
It looks fine to me. So it'd be leased for 5 years.
The medical building.
Yeah. What you got there?
And
You doing private stuff on county time?
this is road, I know. You're getting to my fatigue mark. I'm pretty good though, laying out it.
Yeah, he got it in there. He was pretty sly with that
Mhm. Slip that right in and then.
So what did he say?
That's true. Yeah, you and I had a little fatigue going.
Oh. When I was zoning.
So this is the exact same lease as the last one they did in 2020.
Yeah.
The dates still say 2020. On that. They have enough.
So probably Blaine would have the original, I guess, and have to make sure that we get the correct dates
Get
in.
an updated on him.
Okay.
I'm guessing that's why they're copies, because of the old ones.
So it has to be a bid opening.
I didn't understand the way they put it in the, you read that. Like you put them in.
Is if there'd be somebody else that would be putting a bid on the hospital buildings and stuff?
That's what I was wondering, being it was sealed and it was a proposal, like,
I think, I don't know if that's necessary, but this is last year's copy, so we need Blaine to get the original back to him, I guess.
it comes back, I'll ask you.
So we're on that, right?
You know, we got a couple minutes
Okay.
before he'll be back, but no, we can go ahead and start on it. Yeah, I just, what I was reading, I'd like you, is somebody else making a proposal on the
Yeah.
building, or are we upping our, from $1 to something else,
I don't
or?
think so.
Well, I didn't think,
Like, I don't know if they, because in March when we discussed it, maybe they had to do something official. And I'll have to wait and ask Blaine.
Yeah, we put it in the paper.
Oh,
He's like,
okay.
Yeah,
Oh, and
That you have to.
week, right?
Yeah.
we've never had it something like this before, but reading it, they said you have to now, so that's why.
Yeah, that's probably the difference, and so they sent a proposal.
So obviously nothing's probably changed, but we'll ask Blaine, make sure. You think that they'd be on though, if they're gonna want us to
right.
redo the lease. Need somebody to support or.
Oh, yeah. 2 minutes.
But have somebody here to
Computer.
represent them.
I'll give you $2 in there.
Start a bid.
Yeah.
I don't get up for one, I bet you somebody will get on it. You wanna bid on the hospital?
I don't think I need it for any.
You got lots of buildings.
Turn it into a garage.
Stop.
Yeah, we'll wait a couple minutes here, just if somebody. Who's the one they see the roof on? I can't read that name.
On the left.
Yeah,
George Durkin,
who?
George Durkin.
The,
He was on before. What was it?
airport.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's a problem, I forget their names, but I can recognize their faces, I heard, you know.
Yeah.
All right, it's 10 o'clock, we'll go ahead, we've been talking about it a little bit, trying to figure out, but this is on the. Granite County Medical Center and Drummond Clinic lease proposal bid opening discussion decision. I don't know if anything's changed or Blaine's coming back in. Has anything changed on this lease with the hospital, Blaine, or just all the same, it was last year's?
So,
or five?
so, yeah, it'd be, they were the only ones that had proposal, right? So, okay, let's see there.
This is this, Brent, what would happen if you had to have more money for it? I mean, they cover everything, because when they build, they're supposed to get a hold of this and that, but. I think the question is, if people ask me, why don't you charge more than $1?
Well, I mean, the thought was it's a public benefit, it's a
Yeah.
public benefit, and they're having to do a mill levy anyway to keep afloat, so
Yeah.
charging them and not,
Yeah.
So we're not being blamed for that.
but ultimately, it's the commission's decision on that, but yeah, so now that you can, if the proposal is acceptable, or you can negotiate something differently, but, my advice would be to keep it going well, keep it the same, make sure that insurance in place, which is required, and they've been, from what I've seen, they're doing a good job with the upkeep, they're doing remodeling the ERs right now, and
No, I don't want stuff there, I get people about.
I think maybe $1.25.
Or is this big one?
Well, that's, they submitted the the lease agreement
Yeah.
5 years ago, so I just need to get an updated,
I've
right?
updated it so it could be on the agenda anytime coming up, it's, yeah,
So that's their proposal,
to keep it the
to
same.
keep it the same,
5 years.
5
And,
years.
Yeah, that's what that's consistent with the statute, because every 5 years you're supposed to run it in the newspaper and allow, anyone could potentially put in, but it's gotta be a good faith proposal, and this is.
So like it says, discussion and decision.
So I would encourage the decision just to be well, you could accept the proposal and have the leases on for next
Okay,
week.
Then they'll update the dates on them and that, so we're all.
Yeah, I've done that,
Okay.
yeah.
so I'll make a motion that we accept Granite County Medical Center's lease proposal for the medical center and the Drummond Clinic.
Second,
Public comment? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
We'll put it on the agenda for next week and we.
Both leases on
Yeah.
next week.
Thanks, Lynn. All right, we're a couple minutes ahead, but I see he's here, so we'll go ahead and go into the Riddick Field Airport sign replacement.
Alright, hey, how's it going? Good. Hi, Donovan Jones, Granite County Airport Board Chairperson, Airport Manager. As you know, our sign fell over that last windstorm, so we need to replace it with something so that people know where the airport is. Originally, I sent you guys an image of it's probably not in color, but it's kind of looks like a Forest Service sign, it's brown and white. And then I got a call from Scott saying that that's not really gonna work for him because it's right across the street from his driveway. So he offered to make a custom sign that's, cut metal with aluminum or stainless steel sandwiched in between, so it'll be the same on both sides, like a much nicer looking sign for cheaper than what I can buy that for, so. I'll get a sketch from him when that's ready and I'll present it to you guys, but I would propose that we go with that solution. It'll save a little bit of money and it's gonna be a lot nicer looking than a ordinary sign, yeah.
No, I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Something, yeah, go ahead.
And then just side comment on that, that'll come out of the repair budget for the airport, because we don't really have a budget for improvements or things like that, but I mean, it was there before and it failed, so makes sense.
One, lunch, when we do the budget for the airport, it's always they, what line items do we never do?
Well, usually there's a supply line item and that entails maintenance and stuff.
We have a repair line item that has a lot more budget in it than our maintenance line. Maintenance for me is like snow removal and things like general maintenance. This to me would be a repair, like it's a approved repairs, I think is what it says, so. That's why I'm coming to you all, looking to have that approved, so I can use that budget line then.
Yep, fine with me.
You could do it by motion if you want.
No, we just can't tell them we can use it.
I think it'd be good putting that as a
What are we
direction.
doing with the
I do a motion approving it as a plan.
approving the sign,
Yeah, yeah, and using the
It come out
repair funds, yeah.
maintenance?
Yeah, repair.
which would be maintenance, supplies maintenance?
I motion to accept the sign from, the new sign from Scott McDonald and use the line item there for budget.
I second.
Public comment?
Thank you, Scott, if you can hear us, appreciate it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. We'll go ahead and, move right ahead into the next, Riddick Field Airport member resignation and notice for vacant seat. Who's resigned?
Stanton. So we have meetings once a month and Dave wasn't present. He showed up for one of the meetings on the whole time that I've been chairperson. So I sent him an email asking if we could replace him so we can have somebody in there that's gonna be active in the group. And he replied with a resignation, just saying, you know, he was busy, he's got stuff going on, and apologized that he wasn't able to make the meeting. So he graciously stepped down. So we can post that position.
Well, we have a letter here to
So I make a motion that we accept Mr. Sanson's resignation to the airport board. Granite County.
Second.
public comment. Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, anybody, or?
I wanna post it down at the town council, because we had a meeting down there before and we discussed having someone from the town council on the airport board, and it makes perfect sense to me, because then we're talking once a month and sharing, communicating and collaborating on what's going on down there, and that kind of got us before. I mean, we wanted to put the airport access road where that garden is now, so having direct communication once a month, I think would really improve what's happening down there. So I'll go talk to Rachel next and let her know that there's no concede if anybody wants it. But otherwise, we'll be accepting applications.
Do you want it in the newspaper too, or?
You guys do whatever you do. I think just post it on the website and my opinion is okay. All right, well, that was what you need. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your work.
Oh, you bet. Yeah.
Have a good day.
Yeah, thanks. Okay.
All right, we got a few minutes before, and I think, we go on for,
Personnel matter?
yeah.
Alright.
We just,
It's
let
closed.
Abby step out just for a couple minutes, please.
No problem.
Throwing you out.
Running joke for the whole year now.
So how did
The
you?
Glad Flash didn't hear it.
I was-
He goes,
Back
the
goes.
backhoe's fatigued, and I said something, oh, there's a couple of commissioners. You didn't hear it, luckily. He's like, that goddamn bird.
Just be sending Scott a text there. Feel a little fatigued this week?
Yeah, if I zone and don't concentrate, I don't hear anything. My hearing is slow.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets a little warm in here with that window closed.
Sun coming in. And get another surge of wind and dust coming in.
Pile of dirt, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a lot of dust coming through.
Damn blasted.
Alrighty, about a minute left, we'll wait, 'cause I don't know if they're gonna be on.
No, yeah. I don't think so. I would doubt it.
Alright, well, we'll go ahead and move ahead. It's a Granite County Study Commission board member, 2 resignations, discussion,
Is that on
decision.
Zoom?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Were they both together?
Yeah, we're both on that.
Robin White's one and Mayor Gail Leeper both are resigning. They both have the letters here.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, but they did a good job when they're on there.
Yeah, I thought they did you.
Well, and then she isn't gonna turn in a claim, which she certainly could have because she was entitled to mileage and
Yeah,
on,
you should turn in a claim.
she should turn in a claim.
There's a class.
Yeah, there's budgeted money there.
Maybe put that in a letter too.
Yeah, she should consider turning,
So I guess I'd entertain a motion on accepting both of the, do we do two motions or just?
it could be the same motion.
Do we have to read them?
And they were on the website, right? They're on the website.
I don't think we have to
You-
read them. if they're-
You've read, all of you have read them.
Yeah.
I motion to accept Robin White and Gail Leeper's resignation letters from the Granite County Study Commission Board.
I second it.
Public comment? Being none, all in favor?
I
I,
Sadly to say I guess I hate to see them both go off. I think they were doing a really good job and they're putting the time and effort into it. It's tough to get people.
so you were gonna address that email from,
Yep, on this next one, it's a letter from Gary L. Snyder. And we'll table it for next week. So we have more information on it. There'll be a discussion decision there.
And that letter could be put on the website too. Yeah, so just have it on the agenda next week for addressing his letter as well as the future of the study commission.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks.
and then we'll work on, we'll send letters to Robin and Gail.
Accepting their resignation and
and maybe in Robin say that she should turn in a
Yeah,
claim.
mileage claim.
to maybe be in both of them, if they have mileage or anything needs reimbursed, and turn it in. Hello?
Understand this one.
I think that for a few minutes ahead, we'll go ahead and talk about the review of county halls rental applications. They got a couple yesterday, new ones that just came in. There've been one gentleman and then now we got three of them, right?
These two,
Just two, all that other, okay.
she never
There was another lady called me and I told her to get hold of Miranda. She gave her everything, emailed her everything, but it's not in, so we'll just look at these two. I thought there was three, as of yesterday, so. It's up, like,
Who are the applicants?
it's Shauna Reisner and Joseph L. Ward. I didn't know if we're supposed to say the names, that's like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's Edwin. Either open for food or. Get the food.
Is there any other recommendations?
Gotta look at it.
This is from Shauna. Shauna sent me a little note on.
Okay, Shauna or Sean?
Shauna.
Shauna.
You can roll it right up one. You can roll it up, I answered it.
Yeah, we can't do we have to pause it.
That's what I thought, that's why I said.
Because of the-
Something happened.
Yeah. So Blaine, there is one recommendation for one from a previous landlord
Oh,
on one of them.
okay. Where's that now?
It's on your email recommendation.
Oh.
Have a text from a gentleman that I'll just read it from Bill Slaughter. Please consider Shauna's application for the house and hall. She's solid, best renter ever.
I didn't know he has a rental down there.
That's the way I took it.
Yeah. There's a lot, yeah, no, yeah.
So, I mean, we're still looking them over. To me, I don't, it's
Well,
not.
my opinion, and I see if this Blaine on a recommendation. We have a recommendation for one renter
Yeah,
and
one landlord,
from a
yeah,
landlord.
it's credible.
That would make it more credible than if the other one didn't have a recommendation coming from somebody. I would go with the one with the recommendation.
Yeah,
Okay, being that like that, should we put something in there that he should, I'm not arguing, I
No.
just wanna make sure we're doing it right.
Yeah, that's why,
Like that, the guy should have been told that if he had it, it'd been better that he would have had a recommendation would come with it. I just don't wanna,
I think you have the discretion on which one you feel is the best, so, I mean, you don't have to, I don't think I'd worry about that, but,
can we close for a second for personal?
yeah,
I gotta bring something up. Yeah.
alright, that's your decision,
Yeah.
personal matters, private.
Yeah. All right, we're back on, and we're talking about the rental housing hall. So how, would you say that again?
Yeah, you entertain a motion on approving an applicant, and then there could be the motion could be with conditions and making an offer to the applicant.
A motion to an applicant
on conditions,
conditions,
And so you can name that applicant, yeah.
Shauna Reisner.
So the customary lease with no businesses being
business.
allowed in the residence.
And a deposit.
We have to hold their deposit, can't work it off, just, you know, use it,
Yeah.
we have to have it there in case something happens.
Yeah. First month's rent and deposit. When signing the lease,
The second,
I second.
public comment,
One of the things I know, the customer lease requires renter's insurance with the county being named as additional insured, so,
In the contract.
yeah. And
hey, all in favor,
I,
I'm abstaining,
so in the lease, it has it where there's no, we say there's no business out of the home.
I'll add that language and
Okay,
bring it down. And then, if you wanna sign it today, and then she can come up and contact her if she can come and sign it. If not, if she doesn't accept, then can have it on your agenda next week.
not here,
okay,
we left her a message through.
Yeah.
Call us as soon as possible,
Okay.
so. Alrighty. We'll go ahead and. Ooh, a couple minutes ahead, but. Department of Revenue, memorandum of understanding. County treasurer. So we're understanding what now? Yeah, there you
She'll help you understand.
Maybe.
There's a update, leave me alone.
So this is the same interlocal agreement or memorandum of understanding that they sent us before and we declined to sign. Because we were waiting to hear back from MCTA on what the negotiations ended up looking like. The Attorney General did not meet with them, declined to do so, I guess. Yeah, so as of right now, the only addition to this is the section that they forgot in the initial one, is how it was worded. Stating that provided House Bill 2 passes with county support approved, MVD will reimburse each county 10 cents per transaction completed.
Oh,
Payments will be sent quarterly to each county after all transactions are reconciled.
State legislatures, big spenders.
I just looked at House Bill 2 and it like allows for county support $400,000 per year. For all counties.
Didn't they have $1 billion in windfalls or something? Don't they have like a huge?
So, I don't think we're gonna get anywhere else and nothing else is gonna change now that the legislative session has ended. We're gonna try to get our lobbyists to do some more work on it for the next session.
okay, so just a question on that, on the House Bill 2. Is that if it passes, they will give 10 cents per, if not, we don't even get 10 cents?
Correct.
Which I believe it has passed.
I can double check, I think it has that.
Yeah.
Whether it's signed or not.
This was a thing that all the counties kind of grouped up together
Yeah.
on, right?
And said that we didn't want to sign it.
Right.
Yeah, and then this is something, I guess, in the past, there's always been the interlocal agreement. And it's been pretty standard. This has changed because of the new and improved state system for motor vehicle. And so when that all changed over, they went away with the idea of us operating on state-owned computers in there with a state-owned program and state-owned internet.
Right.
And so that's all done away with. And so when they switched that over to county-owned and operated everything, this changed and changed the responsibilities. So with that, you know, we said that there needs to be some kind of compensation besides.
To pay for the computers and all that stuff, right?
Well, they actually, the state were the ones that said that they were going to pay for the new computers for us.
Oh, okay.
And it was just the computer system itself and the specialized scanner that we have to use. It did not include new printers, new monitors, or anything. And these are now county-owned computers and maintained by DIS.
So what's that
Right.
expression, rock? A rock between a hard spot?
Yeah.
We're damned if we do and damned if we don't.
So it passed the legislature, looks like it just needs signed,
Okay.
right, what I'm seeing here.
I mean, 10 cents is 10 cents. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not a lot for these smaller counties like us, but we do. The only thing I wanted to know in here, and I don't know that I'll ever get real, answer on this, but it says 10 cents per transaction completed. Well, for our county, a lot of our LLCs are completed through a outside entity called MBD Express. So MBD Express can process for other counties. And so I don't know if we'll get paid for those or if MBD Express will get paid for those. I would hope that's not the case, but we do over 40,000 transactions a year.
Yeah.
And so we should get paid for 40,000.
Yes, and you never got a good answer whether or not.
Let me look at the text of the House bill.
Yeah, the section would be called the county support. I think is what the line item on the bill is support.
How many counties now don't have the excise tax? Just
Four.
four?
Yeah, and one county did have to amend theirs. Something to do with the mobile, or not the mobile, I'm sorry, the RVs section of things. And then there's,
How come they had to amend it? Or just
Um,
add, increasing it, or?
no, they couldn't have it the way that they had it set up, I guess, because of. But something to do with the depreciation structure or something.
Oh, I'll have to look at that in the future, so we have it.
I do think, that we kind of have to sign this at this point. I mean, we have to be able to provide more vehicle services. And we'll just work to try and get it amended down the road.
Better than 0 cents, I guess.
Which is what we get now.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you need a decision that we make a motion to sign the Department of Revenue Memorandum of Understanding.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
public comment, go ahead, Wayne.
I don't know that 10 cents on through the MVV Express is answered in the statute, probably gonna be administrative. Probably. Not in statute, that clarify me, but.
So does that mean we wouldn't even get 10 cents for the LLCs?
It's, well, it's I'd say to be determined,
To be determined,
yeah.
10 cents.
Question.
they'll get me here in a second.
Any other public comment? James, none, all in favor?
I,
So they did add a line for the chairman to sign it. And then I will sign it thereafter.
You need a pen? Yeah, that is. Poor state of affairs for the state of Montana, I believe.
so they took our fees from us with the entitlement thing, and now we have to pay for
Mhm.
it. And they get the
Yeah.
fees and we pay for it.
And we gotta take care of
Did I
it.
mess up?
No, I don't think, I don't think they want me to sign.
Push everything off to county government, why have a state government pushing everything off to us?
Yep.
criminals just rotate through the county jail system.
Miranda, did they request an e-signature on this?
It did come that way.
Correct. So I don't know that.
It's,
They never sent it to me this time. They
Yeah,
sent it directly to.
yeah, it came Thursday to them, trying to be sneaky.
trying to buy.
That's right.
I did, I was like, hey.
Right away.
Do you want me to copy that so you have a?
I mean, I have copies of. Miranda,
Yeah.
will you reply to that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I can sign for him, not you.
Okay, did they even have a section for me to
Mhm.
sign? They never sent it.
Yeah, you're on here.
Okay, I'll come over and sign it. You sign it, or you can forward it to me. Um,
This too.
How's it going?
Hmm?
Going good?
So busy over there. That usually too many.
What I got for you. I don't need it today, I can leave it. I was gonna get copies.
Are taxes due?
Been very busy. Taxes are due. This is the month for taxes.
When's it due? I was gonna bring him in.
31st, but it falls on a Saturday, so you have until the 2nd to walk in and pay.
I always forget the money.
I think I paid some full. Let's check that, let's keep me.
No, they keep track of all of it. Got
There's
the
your-
global focus are going on pays. As the change in rate, the tax rates. So global funds are going on.
What do those do?
They'll have a due date, because they can give us a firm date when they were assigned to like so. For your revenue, just to figure that out.
The real property sales went out. Or-
Mobile will go out, hopefully by Friday. We'll have the information.
I got, we're gonna.
Thank you, guys.
Do I have to have my little piece of paper to sign? Or pay my taxes, or I just borrow it after we're done?
Yep.
Write you a check?
Yep.
Okay, I'll do
Take your money.
that.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
What's that?
You have to wait.
Mine was simple.
Can't you just give it to him to get started on?
I'll go ahead and. We have a little break there or something.
We got all right.
I'll go make that change to the lease and bring it down
Okay.
and,
Travis, give it up for back, so I don't know if you're, how long it's supposed to wait, or.
yeah, if you haven't heard back by the time doing the agenda, I'd put it on the agenda.
It's,
During my one, you know, they want stuff.
But it's gonna be here.
I would.
Oh, I go to the restroom real quick.
I'm getting home.
Yeah.
I almost put my coat on at one point.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
It's like hot, hold on.
I don't know who she is, I don't think.
You know if you've seen her.
Maybe.
No, I know who you're.
Oh, okay,
I know.
she's the one, okay.
who
She's a two.
She sings, that's the one that sings. This one don't.
Oh, yeah.
Howdy doody.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Scott. Good to see you.
You do, buddy.
I'm having a great day.
Oh, it's because I'm here. He was
Are you ready?
excited.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, our adjournment's at
Like-
4:30.
Blaine, Hughes and Blanche and I have had tea.
Fatigue, huh?
Yeah. I just thought that was normal.
Like they said, the breakfast fatigue.
Mhm.
Is that what he said?
I'm saying you and I are.
We are fatigued.
I don't know what brought that.
We're not fatigued.
What are they doing down in the canyon? They put that bridge across Flint Creek and they're cutting that road. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, that guy, he's supposedly he's gonna build a big house up there, but he's got banks and doing all the work and moving and just moving lots of
So he's
stuff.
just building a house up there?
Well, that's what I heard.
Yeah, I think it's his brother, the guy doing a lot of the work, cause his brother building, or wants to build a house up there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so much dirt work.
So I know my husband works for Doug and they've been out there a ton.
Wow, a lot of that road I had in there when I line skated that with my line machine, I punched a lot of that, it was just a
Oh,
one track.
Okay.
Where's that at?
Down here at 6 Mile, they call
Oh,
it, where they put that new bridge.
well, shoot, just that bridge itself is a lot.
Yeah,
But that's, you see, maybe how they try this or.
Yeah. And then I found, well,
Yeah.
another 2, 3.
I figured they were maybe opening up a mine or going after the timber up there.
No, they're just gonna build up there.
Oh,
It's pretty cool when you get up there and you take after the big cut, and then you go over fast. If the county road comes in, crosses that bridge that we talked about.
Yeah.
Boulders there, you just, like you can drive all the way back into that, and we come up and hit Chuck John's in from that, and you just stay right out.
Hmm.
There's old county road.
yeah, I don't know if I'd wanna be on that road in the winter, but I'm guessing if they're spending that much money, it'll be here a couple weeks out of the year anyways.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Summertime.
Yeah.
I think they got pretty fancy snow removal stuff. Looking like it.
Well, that's pretty south slope too. I mean, it usually doesn't have.
No, it shouldn't, I know, it was icy, when I logged in there. It was-
Well, yeah, you
Never
get
had
onto
that.
some of those more slopes, yeah.
We never had that nice road, but we
Yeah.
had that 90,000 pound crane up in there. It wasn't so too bad.
It's usually nice if you had a project and just call Cat up, go, hey, bring me a brand new excavator, brand new blade, brand new dozer.
Alright, we got a couple minutes, we'll wait till Blaine's coming back with. On there. We're gonna review the bid received for Main Street Bridge repair with Great West.
I brought copies of the bids we received too.
Good day in this too.
That was, no, that's just our overall bid package that we sent out.
Okay.
So, we received 2 bids from contractors.
thank you.
Yep.
I talked to that one guy that was kinda interested from here, but he wasn't, yeah, he was too far out, not set up, so I just, he said maybe next time, something like that. We'll go ahead and look at the bids in that we got. On these bids, is this include your price too for all the work we've done?
No, this is just the contractor price on to do the work. Yep.
So like on that, then where it's an insurance thing, then you bill the insurance or do we bill the insurance, just a total price, we just accept something here and then plus your price?
We just have a task order with the county, and so we've been billing you. Assuming you submit all that to their insurance.
Yeah. I just wanna make sure, so when we say that whoever's bid, what, we accept that, but then the total is the insurance, right?
Yeah, it would be our services and this construction cost and plus.
I just wanna make sure, okay. Alrighty, so I guess, you want me to read through the bids then?
Or I could go through and because the price was under $80,000. We didn't publicly advertise, but we solicited contractors for this. So we sent this package out to probably 8 different bridge contractors, and then we sent some packages over to the county as well. To receive bids, we ended up receiving 2 bids. So one was from R Roads Construction. And their price on it was $21,234.56. And they have a proposed completion date of October 15th of this year. They're gonna be in the area doing some other work, so they kind of just would kind of do this in their downtime. This is kind of what they were planning on. This is Adam, his last name's McGowan. He used to work for Tammy Eddy and that's did his own business. So he's a bridge contractor, understands it. And then the other bid we received was from Battle Ridge Builders, and they've done the county before. They did most of their stuff up at my Creek Dam. They were just a little bit higher, $28,500. But they did propose completing it a month earlier, so September. I don't know if the 30 days really affects things much or not.
I guess my quote for it, Paul.
I was gonna say, that's the big difference between the labor and material price. Between the two, I mean, one's 6,000, the other's 19,000.
Yep.
Was, how it is, were they looking at maybe throwing a lot more work at that, get it done quicker, or what? That's just it's a big gap.
I think when you look at it, our roads just put they put all their profit essentially probably on the
Low, right?
Where Battle Ridge has it built into the concrete bid item too. So I think because we didn't, on a project of this size, we didn't cap mobilization at like 10% of the bid.
Okay.
Because 10% of like $2,000 is not
Right.
enough.
Right.
So we didn't cap that. So I think that's just where they're kind of hiding
Okay,
the incidental stuff in there.
all right.
But it is, I mean, $6,000 difference. And I don't know, I guess Clay's not here, but like what the insurance is covering or how all that, well, we were just talking about how all that is working. I'm assuming you submit the invoices and my invoices and they pay them. I would.
Yeah, we haven't bid nothing yet, cause we was waiting to see what the total, cause we don't wanna, I mean, and, Blaine's been talking to him, so I think, yeah, that's right, then, but, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that accepting this isn't the total insurance, I mean, they still gotta pay, the insurance still has to pay for you setting up the bid and taking care of that.
Yeah.
I don't wanna be stuck with, or we don't wanna be stuck with, you know.
Yeah, they need to pay for everything. 'Cause, yeah. And I would imagine, I don't know, like, standard comprehensive insurance, is it 50, 100 or 25, 50? I don't remember what the aggregate is on minimum coverages.
Did they give a start date or what did?
No, I mean, we can find that out. We just had them list completion date on here just to give you guys an idea of when they would at least have planned to get it all wrapped up.
Yeah, I hope they could get on it before all the events started this summer.
Right.
It don't look like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, either of them, because it's really just gonna be a couple of weeks of time. So it'll be after, summer.
He worked with his other guys.
Well,
Yeah, I've worked with them quite a bit.
Yep.
So and it could be, I mean, there's the other guy, since they're gonna be in the area, just bounce around the R roads or whatever. They're in the area in the middle of summer, they might just get it done in the middle of summer then.
They could, yeah. He's got another bridge that he's working. I don't know if it's for MDT or what, but he was gonna be in the area, and I think that's kind of reflective of the price.
And they're pretty good.
Yeah, yep, they know what they're doing. And so he, I mean, if they had some downtime on the other project,
Right.
they said they would jump on it, and they're kind of planning on working it in. They just will have it done by.
No matter what, right?
I'm going,
Good, how are you, Mike?
good.
We got the bid, Blaine, on the bridge.
Oh, okay, just one?
We got two bids.
Oh, two, okay.
So those are the two R roads, and then Battle Ridge. So R roads construction is the low number.
You dealt with both of them before?
That's why I was asked.
Battle Ridge did all the.
Yeah, that's right, that was good, yeah.
And then R roads is he's went out on his own, but he was a bridge contractor.
Oh, yeah.
Worked for another contractor, so he's got experience as well, so both of them are well qualified to do it.
That's the only reason I've asked you, just that Glenn's been talking, just to, cause like we dealt with Battle Ridge, they're the one who did the dam, and we had that overlay come right back, we fixed everything. They're good to work with, I just wanna make sure the other guys know what we're doing.
Yeah, and he does, yeah, they've done a lot of,
Better than we thought it was gonna be, right? Or
yeah, that's not, I mean, those are,
that's my.
yeah, you can, those are, it's competitive, I think it's definitely a fair price for the work.
Yeah.
We were discussing before you came in, insurance wise, like, cause we have our task order with the county, and so that insurance should cover our fees, and then this contractor fee as well, right? Like, you submit all that stuff like.
Yeah, I submitted to them. They only had minimum insurance, I think.
Yeah.
But,
Bridges are not.
That's what I work.
what is the total fee gonna be with engineering?
Well, the 21 plus whatever their bill was.
Yeah, I don't remember what ours was.
This is that email, yeah.
Well, that's the bid for it, not the engineering.
Yeah, well, but we submitted the claim to, the
Yes,
tort feasors insurance.
yes.
That was State Farm?
It was State Farm, yeah.
Cause it's gonna be a total around 33, 34,000. But I mean, that's. Be worse. Just on that bridge.
Get what we can get, I guess.
Well, we'll have to fix it,
Yeah.
choice, I mean, like.
Yeah, 'cause there's caps on property damage there.
Find out what they can actually gonna pay.
Oh, yeah, like $100,000 for caps in it for property anymore.
No, I mean, the only, it's only, what is the minimum? 50,000? I mean, Montana's minimums are not very,
I don't remember. I think there's a 1,500 on that. So I mean, if it was 50,
You're still
it's a
covered.
minimum,
Yeah.
you're covered for all expenses on that. I just know sometimes, isn't there like a 25,000, but is that like
Yeah.
injury?
I think that's
And then property
injury,
is minimum of 50?
right?
I don't like.
There's a difference between like the property of the car or like
yeah, the property versus the personal.
ground property, a house or something. I think.
Well, then does it matter if it's a personal car or if it's a ranch car?
Like business, yeah,
I don't mind changes.
mine does too.
Yeah, they may have something else.
Something under, maybe it's the business.
They got all kinds of options for you.
Also, 25,000 per person bodily injury, 50,000 per accident bodily injury, 20,000 property and damage. So we gotta double check I'll double check what they have for coverage. That's just.
And then I'd want to see
minimum.
if it's just a personal or a business. If they
Yeah.
got mind change.
Well, Yeah, it depends on the time.
So we can go ahead and entertain to take or make a motion on accepting the bid on, well, we have.
Yeah.
Our roads. Okay, I make a
So-
motion that we accept the bid from Our Roads Construction Inc. for 21,234.56.
Here's your notice of word. It's a that for our roads, so. I think that's the next item on the.
I'll second the motion.
Public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so then we'll go ahead and we reviewed the bids, now we're gonna award the bid, there's the selected contractor for Main Street, it's in front of me. I have it for our road right here, so entertain a motion.
Did I do the wrong motion?
No, we have to do one of these. There's two different. No, you did good.
Oh, okay, so
Next one, just give it to them.
award bid of notice selected
I
contractor.
motion to award the bid to
our roads construction.
I'll second it.
Public comment? Being none, all in favor,
I,
motion carried back. So do I sign it here or?
Put the dollar amount in.
Oh,
too.
right here, so just signature and then you got one, Rand.
I do.
And there's 3 copies, so one copy to the county and then I'll keep one and give one to the contractor.
Maybe they got downtime in June, we'll have it fixed for the rodeo.
Hopefully early or after everything, because
Right.
it will do.
Not
some
doing-
lane.
Yeah.
Yeah. For folks. And here's that, and then one goes to the contractor, I'll keep one,
Okay.
so, and then we'll get there. You've already issued the notice of award, but we'll have a contract with them.
Right.
You know, we gotta get insurance from them, make sure, and then they'll sign the contract and that'll come over.
No, at least we got a couple bids, that's good.
It is, and
I'm worried that
fair price for the work.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, it is.
not a lot, but it's
time consuming.
time consuming and not ideal, so.
we'll get to
Did other contractors talk to you as well, or just the 2 that talked to you?
Those are the 2 main ones that I
Yeah.
reached out, yeah, others were busy or didn't
Yeah.
wanna mess with it, cause it's kinda small.
Yeah.
So,
There's still gonna be change orders, right, once they get in there for if some.
I hope not.
Right,
Yeah,
there's always that.
possible.
Yeah, cause we're, once they remove all the concrete, so they'll have the reinforcing and then we'll come over and inspect that and make sure. So if we got reinforcing that's popped out, we'll add some. So
Okay.
I'm not seeing that being too big of a change order, cause we'll add a couple of bars and they'll valve and epoxy them in.
Right.
But we gotta see. And then it's just capping it back up.
Okay, we'll go ahead into review county bridges and discuss funding for improvements with Great West Engineering. This
Okay.
is just a discussion.
So I've got 2 handouts here for you. This first table is the bridge evaluation we actually did back in 2018. And, this was kind of the last time we put together, kind of a priority list of bridges for the county. And then the second table, this larger sheet, is when MDT, with their consultants, and it was HDR Staley, came through and they evaluated all the MDT inspected bridges. And then they put together a priority list based on need as well. So that was done. I think that was wrapped up in 24. So here's kind of where you're sitting on bridge conditions. Sorry. So the number 1 bridge still on the list. It's both on MDT's list and it was our list back in 18 was that Walworth Ranch Road or McGrock Bridge. Condition wise, because we use county bridge, it has the lowest SR, which is your sufficiency rating. So it's 41.7 out of 100. Eligible for replacement, but we had actually, Great West had done a preliminary engineering report on that bridge. And the county was looking at pursuing funding through the MSEF program. And I can't remember all the specifics, but I believe the landowner hired somebody to do some rehab, and then they went and did some improvements themselves because they didn't want to do bridge out there. I know we reviewed some engineered drawings from the landowner on that bridge. They wanted to do some decking or something out there. What was that? It was a while ago. But even with the latest inspection on that bridge, it's still not great overall. It actually, the latest SR is down to 31.4. But it does serve, I think, just one landowner.
Yeah.
And then on MDT's list, number 2 is that Stony Creek, on Upper Rock Creek Road. That one has a sufficiency rating of 66.3. Back when we did this, that was like number 4 on the list, so it is obviously a priority bridge to get replaced.
Was it the cold bridge, yeah, no, it was just a decking and that on, it might think that different one.
I think maybe it was just decking.
On the Broadbridge?
And that Stony Creek one, yeah.
Oh, so.
If we did some stuff, over the years, we put some molars and stuff in the roof.
So the deck is in fair condition, the superstructure is in fair, the substructure is good, so. It's probably undersized steel members and then decking, that's not great. You probably put some running planks on it, but the foundation is not bad.
Yeah, I remember we did some stuff on it,
Yeah,
just temporary, good.
Yeah. Overall though, the county bridges are in fairly good condition. I guess I helped starting way back in 2008. And the county's done quite a few bridge replacements and replacing bridges with culverts and things. And so you've knocked out a lot of the bad bridges. Even that, the Wahlberg one is sole access, that's your worst condition. All the rest of these are SRs above 50. Anything below 75 is technically eligible for replacement. But when you get below 50, that's really where you have a significant need. Sometimes they're load posted, things like that.
I guess, talking on that, when we proposed into the grant thing, we were talking about gold coin. That was one that we've been really worried about, being that now that people are gonna start moving, they're gonna do some more of the taking the cement truck over that. That's the one that we're pretty worried about, being the road limit and everything.
And that was back here, 9th on the list. I did send Ryan out. He went and inspected it last week. He'll get the inspection findings, but he didn't. He felt like maybe the superstructure rating, I think MDT had
That is fair for substructure. The superstructure was good.
or maybe it was the substructure. He was thinking that they could have a 5 versus a 6. And then we'll rerun the load ratings and see if that does affect posting. It's still, SR in the 70s.
Can
75.
Can we still post on there, being there are bridges and that, lighter weight, so these guys aren't just getting so much, I know everybody when you get a cement truck, you want her full, and then, but when we post, I'm just scared that when you hit that, it's hitting down.
So there's no, based on MDT's load rating on that structure and the different axle configurations, it still meets highway legal loading. A lot of it is because it's such a narrow span that you don't have multiple access or axle load points on there, maybe a trailer, but the front is off before the trailer gets on there.
Cause it's short, 18 footer or whatever.
Yeah, but that's what we're going to check. If we have any changes to the ratings, we would rerun the load rating on it. And if there is some posting, we'll recommend posting. Now, the county, you can choose the load posted less, but if there's not any substantial evidence to support that, then say somebody was loaded over your posted limits of 100 legal highway loads and it failed, like they would say their insurance will cover it. But if you have load postings done by an engineer or MDT and you have it posted, and that vehicle is overloaded and causes damage to the bridge, they're liable, it's like the other case.
Yeah.
And we had that, I mean, we were doing some work down in Stillwater County, and they had a cement truck go in, and their insurance company bought the county a new bridge, because it was posted, and they were overloaded, and it was sitting like this, when I tried to go over it. So we will get some recommendations, or at least a report on Gold Coin. My recommendation on this is because we're 8 years since the last really bridge evaluation of all the structures, would be MSEP has planning money that they'll be coming out with. You can get up to $15,000, or we can do a new bridge evaluation and put together a bridge capital improvements plan, so you know the priorities. And then you're set up, if you want to try to get funding, you can go to MSEP. It sounds like, MDT had the last legislative cycle, this SB 536 funds for some bridge repair. The new Bill 924 has some money set aside for county bridges as well. So what it'll do is set you up if there's money. But I guess just broad brush, it's looking like the bridges are pretty decent. It's not like we got to go after just this one. But we will lay this out so and the road supervisor can start planning for, okay, we need to go do some decking up here, or we do need to, get this bridge replaced. And some of them, like you have that Bear Gulch Road over the Clarkport, that bridge is not, it's actually been nominated on the MDT off-system bridge. So someday MDT will replace it. The Clarkport or the Main Street Bridge, we were just talking about that. It's not great. That deck is still rated 4. We paved over it years ago, but the deck itself, the numbers are still not great. Eventually that thing's gonna be replaced, but that's a multi-million-dollar structure. So you're gonna need, assistance from the Department of
Which bridge is
Which
that?
one was that?
Oh, the Main Street Bridge over the Clarkport,
Yeah.
the one where we're doing the curb. Yeah.
That can still pour.
Yeah, it's, it was built in 1934. It's an old structure.
So you're saying the decking's not the greatest? Well,
So we paved over it,
uh-huh.
but the concrete was in really poor condition. And so we just to extend the life, we just paved over it. They're still giving it a poor rating because the concrete is not great underneath your asphalt.
When we put that on, we saved some, we didn't have the money, so
Yeah.
that's why we did it.
And it's nice driving service, and we kind of capped it so it's not popping out, because we were getting spalling all the time on that. So it sealed it up, but the deck itself is still in bad condition overall. So there you go. And just the life, it's a 1934 structure.
Maybe we should put that one on the direct congressional funding instead.
So yeah, you made that request, maybe that money comes through. Once we do the evaluation, you can pursue MSEP funds, which the county's used in the past. We did Douglas, Henderson, was Boulder Creek bridges with that program as well. But I think that's my recommendation is like, let's get a snapshot on everything again, and then you guys can decide.
There's, like 1-to-1 matches on all that.
1-to-1 on that.
matches,
So
yeah.
you could ask for 15,000 for the planning grant, and the county would have to match. But those will be out in the next month or so.
Won't be in June, though.
Yeah, they're usually
Yeah.
around June 1st that they have a call. So as soon as they officially release the call and the date, I'll notify the county, and you guys can decide if you want to pursue the planning or not.
Something we're gonna have to keep up on, cause there's a few that are gonna start, we're gonna have to do some stuff.
It's kind of the one, like the county was really aggressive, and we did a lot, and you knocked out a lot, and then we kind of just, okay, you're good for a while, and we're kind of back to the point, like, let's evaluate them again, see where we're at, and
go for the worst ones and the ones we can afford to do, because I mean, with the cuts and that, it's gonna be
Yep.
hit and miss if we fix a couple of the small ones instead of going for a great big one.
Yep.
Just gotta kind of look and see.
So a motion needs to be made for him to go forward or what?
I think that's part of the discussion.
Oh,
You guys can, when we get to the point, if you do want to apply for planning, then you can, cause there'll be a signature to go along with the
Cause
plan.
they're bringing their stuff out June first, and then that's when we better start really looking to see what we're gonna do.
okay, so we can't do it now, can't get you going right now,
No, there's nothing for us to do yet, cause they
Okay.
don't have the.
so we wait for
applications
something.
out.
to-
So I just,
We already pay them too much, they don't need to be paid for it.
You know what was coming.
I knew it, I couldn't get away without it. So yeah, this is more just information,
We asked them to do the bridge reports and that, cause we keep, when we go for them grants, now we got stuff we actually updated that we can tell them, well, this one's this and this one's that, so that's kind of what we're setting it up in June, if we can get stuff and that money comes, we can get money, then we'll go, right, and start,
yep.
then we got paid, yeah.
The plan, the planning grants, we don't charge for those, it's pretty minor, it's, it's really just a couple pages of why you need it and we'll submit those, so we never charge for those, cause it's pretty. They're essentially, it's first come, first serve, so.
Yeah.
We get it in.
Yeah.
And you get your money, it's not like we have, it's a highly competitive pool, right, where if you choose to move forward with the MSIL construction grant, I mean, that's a serious grant, it gets ranked by, so you wanna, invest the effort in trying to get money, cause you're getting half of a bridge project. Should you move forward, so those ones you wanna invest in, doing a good quality application, but for these planning grants, it's first come, first served, so I just make sure that the day that they're open to getting in, you guys' application comes in.
So it's how does SR rating work? So like, look at like the Walbrook Bridge, it's got the 31.4 SR rating, but it says everything's good on it.
So it's the other ratings, so there's like 7 different criteria in there, so a lot of it is. It's wood and timber, so there's a load posting associated with it, cause it's got undersized members. So they could be in decent shape, but they're undersized and it's load posted or recommended for load posting, so that goes into the SR as well. So it could be, you could have a brand new timber bridge that maybe has a 5-time load posting and you're gonna have a low SR because it's.
I see.
So, yeah, there's a lot of the rating elements, and then outside of these 3 listed, there's still 5 more rating elements, so scour critical, overall structure.
Okay.
Alignment to the road, rails, things like that, that play into the SR as well, and then also the loading criteria of the members.
You said anything under 75 is kind of something to look at,
Yeah, that's,
or 70, I mean, or.
yeah, that's kind of. So from 50 to 75 is considered maintenance, or look at that structure to determine if there's something you can do to extend the life. Once you get under 50, you should be planning for replacement. It's kind of the rule of thumb from federal highways.
Okay.
And 75 seems high, right? But their point being,
This is
it's
curious.
starting to drop down, you should plan, maybe you could do a deck or something to extend the life versus nothing, and then you get to the point where you spent $2 million on a bridge.
I see,
You
okay.
can, a lot of times, extend the life.
Well, I think a lot of, we looked at some of them, that's why we did the decking and stuff, just because then we could do more with what we got.
Yeah.
Than just sit on one and figure out how we're gonna fix the other.
Yeah.
Got by is what, yes.
Yep. Yeah, any more questions for me?
No, thanks, appreciate you coming in.
Yep.
Or just keep us posted on that bridge thing in case they have to, there's gonna be a bunch of events coming up, we've got kind of watch for them too.
Yep, yeah, we'll get the notice of award over to Adam and then, have him give us a schedule and let you know what's up.
Remember Missoula talked to us about potentially going on some joint grant.
Joining.
Yeah, we haven't heard back from them.
On that board.
From Shane.
That's gonna be the contact, never ever heard from them. No.
On which one? What are they looking at?
They're just wanting to do like few bridges and join up on some, I'm not sure if it's federal grants or what.
They were supposed to get back with us and we can work together and they were gonna help.
Kind of like a multi-county,
Yeah.
like us and Ravalli, and there's a bunch of
Yeah,
Yeah,
trying to team up with Missoula just to kind of get a
yeah.
broader.
Haven't heard.
never,
Was that
It was-
December? Was that December? I think
Yeah.
before I was actually.
Yeah, I think it was.
yeah, cause the guy was getting remember and then they wanted one of us to be on
Yeah.
the board. Yeah, but the one guy quit the MDOT, so maybe it just fell away too. And then
Well, he
went
was
to work
with-
for the county.
But he was with the county then.
Oh.
Yeah. Isn't it Shane Stack or is it someone
I
else?
think
Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I used to work for him.
Yeah, he was gonna call.
But then, maybe that's what I heard, now he quit there and he's working for somebody else.
Okay,
Something's good, yeah, that's what I figured he did, cause he's usually really good
Yeah.
at calling.
DOT will be here next week, so
Oh,
put in our request.
well, thank you.
Yep, the only other thing, I know it's not on the agenda, but we were emailing yesterday, so we submitted all that stuff related to the dam to FERC. They want a signed emergency action plan. So I sent over the signature page from Miranda,
Yeah.
so it's.
you guys have approved it already, so you can sign it.
Run.
I didn't want to sign it because if they come back with comments, we need to make changes, then but now they want to sign.
That's the one guy, and everybody worked on, everybody, you know,
Yeah. If you wanna, they, I guess can do it whenever and you can get it attested and then I'll, just scan it over.
Okay.
And I'll just send that over to FERC and then they can release, so.
That's Sarah.
Okay. I will get out of here.
Thanks.
Thanks, Shane, good seeing you, buddy.
See you again.
Take care.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
See ya.
Okay, we're a couple of minutes behind. We'll go into the resolution 2025-8, the granite resolution abandoning a portion of North Fork of the Lower Willow Creek Road, the county, first reading and discussion, so it's not. No decisions, just the first reading, and I've been over and over it.
Do you have it in front of you?
He does.
You have it?
Oh, okay.
You got it.
You do.
I seen that.
So, try to get a little bit of history of the process and then what the Lower Willow Creek Irrigation District Board decided upon, so I have that in there. Gives the history of it, and then, puts a conditional upon there always being those easements in place or something similar. The current easement or something similar. That should protect everyone. I wouldn't think the irrigation district would ever let that go in any event, but this will assure it.
Did we ever get a copy of the easement that he filed?
Yeah. Yeah, we got both of them.
Yeah, he brought it.
Yeah.
Brought the
It's,
roll of
Yeah, they recorded it.
Yeah, it's
Rolling
recorded.
page. So I referenced that rolling page number in the resolution. And say, yeah, that remains in effect or one similar.
Is that in the resolution?
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, I guess we can take a break.
You need to do a motion on.
No,
that's
just first reading.
Oh,
First
Yeah.
reading is all just a discussion, I'm still against it, I want that in there, I just don't think, I think the way it was done wasn't proper. In my opinion.
So if you vote against it next week, then we just put opposed where your signature line goes.
Yeah, well,
By statute, you only need one reading of a resolution, but, you have a public participation resolution that said you'll do two readings on formal
maybe
resolution.
we better do two.
Yeah,
Next week.
next week for second reading and,
Discussion decision.
yeah, second reading and decision.
All right, well, we'll go off until we got a little break here. We'll be back by 1.
That's not, you know. That closed,
What's that?
the interviews?
Yeah,
No,
well, they're open, but I don't know if you guys had it on Zoom.
Oh,
But then
We
you can
took it
close,
off the Zoom last time,
Yeah.
did they?
if you're talking about private things, and you can close portions of it.
okay.
Yeah, see you guys at 3:30.
You didn't fill in for me, no, we early.
I'll be here at 3:30. I gotta finish my
Get rested up,
insurance
and
stuff.
be fatigued.
She is.
Yeah, they've accepted.
All right, we're back on and we've done the interviews and we're making a motion.
I'll motion to conditionally hire Donald Smith at a grade 8, step 5, on condition of background check,
Successful background.
successful background check.
I second it. Any public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Call.
Hopefully they'll accept it.
Yeah. Do we put these in there or do we?
Yeah,
Shred them.
I'll deal with them.
Yeah.
I can just.
Pete, here's one thing that I shred everything that you said.
I think you're supposed to interview questions in your file.
I think we,
That's it.
oh, that's what it says.
Revise the question to take out prioritize.
I'm gonna put it in every question.
5 or 6 times.
I'm like,
No, you guys stay in here. Let's do this.
Gotta close out.
oh.
We're still loud.
You still on Zoom?
Yeah,
Okay.
Now we are, yeah.
yeah, adjourn it until 3:30.
Yeah, we can go up till 3:30. That's our next. So she comes back in.
She left us. Had enough for the day.
I don't blame her.
I like it better, she probably likes it better when she just gotta deal with us for a couple hours a day. I don't know.
Never sends the info now, CC, Sarah.
You're watching on one.
When she emails Donald to CC Sarah and Becky or Sarah, so they're in.
Coming back.
Yeah.
30
I'll
for
be
that
out
one?
at 3:30. They spend 45 minutes telling me why its interest is going up. Like, get the chase.
Relation is off.
Yeah. I wish you would get back to the mom. Shut it off. Wait.
I'm not sure what she does, and
I don't wanna end it. Should we just mute it?
yeah.
Great. Well, as I said, my name is Hope Barker. I'm the new property casualty trust administrator. I've been here since July, so it's my first year learning curve this whole year. So if you have any constructive criticism, please hit me with it. And then I think you know Roby, I didn't know.
That mean me too?
Yeah, yeah, please, especially from an agent's perspective,
No,
right?
Obviously, she don't know me, does she?
Yeah.
Yeah. I promise I've probably had worse, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah.
So I've had obviously a long-standing relationship with Granite County and I appreciate it. Thank you all. Hope has took over for Shannon last year after she ended up getting sick and then passing away unfortunately. And she's done a nice job. She's yeah, she passed away, last year. Yeah. Hope has done a nice job. She's learned the ropes. And so, you know, the pool concept is, it works in the property casualty arena. It frankly does. I run one myself, as you all know, school wise. But kudos to her. She's picked up the reins and ran with things. And so, there will be learning curves, as we all know, right? But she's done a nice job. But that, I'll just let you take it over and I'll chime in as we move forward.
Great. I apologize. Usually it's not as painful for the agents because if they have more than one county, there's a gap between them hearing my story and my example.
Yeah.
So he's got it back to back, day after day. But if you jump to the first page, we can quickly review the agenda. So I just have a few points on the benefits of pooling. And then I have two pages on the excess and reinsurance market analysis. And basically why we're seeing the rate increases that we are for property and liability insurance as a nation. And then I hate it when people give these big spiels and then talk about money at the very, very end. So we're gonna dive right into that. So we have the 25-26 contributions as well as the previous year comparison. And then we go over the property and liability coverage, which is part of the modification factor as to why we determined that this is your rate. And then we have all of the claims reviews. And then I have all of the contact information for our risk management services on the very last pages. And then your property acknowledgement form has already been signed and turned in, so no worries there. And discussion, but please discuss this as we go through. We do not have to wait till the end. It makes it much less painful as we talk moving through this. Then the next page, we have benefits of pooling and why MAGO, stability, savings, coverage, and member driven. So stability and savings kind of go hand in hand. Private insurers are pressured to provide short-term results to investors. You are MACO's priority, and this allows the PCT Risk Management Authority to maintain stable rates even through volatile times. One of the things that I was talking about yesterday is even if you had a catastrophic loss and have a 3,000% loss ratio, we're not going to drop you. I'm not going to come in here and say, so sorry, you weren't as profitable to the pool. Good luck to you out in the open market. That's the point of the pool, so we're able to cover those claims and continue moving forward. Eventually, they will drop off your loss runs. But with that being said, we do not have a pool that we are in. We have our own insurance, and we had a potential claim that somebody had filed. It was with a special district. We determined there was no coverage even from when we covered special districts, but they are trying to backdoor everything to, to get money basically and cover their claim. So when our insurance heard about this, threatened to potentially drop us. So with that, we started looking for a carrier that could replace them. We've been with Ambridge for a very long time, so that's why they give us a great deal. So with them, which we are moving forward with them, thankfully they didn't drop us after they found out about the claim and we're like, okay, this is fine. But they charge us just under $1 million. The second best option was 4.2 million. So at some point, there is going to be a reckoning to where either we have to go with somebody else or Ambridge comes up to the market. But we are never going to come in and say, so sorry, you guys have a 75% increase this year. We're going to take the brunt of that, but we have to make sure the pool is in a safe place so we can take the brunt of that, as well as still covering the claims for everybody throughout the year, etc.
But we still get hit with it.
No, that's
Not
the.
even that, don't count the increases.
No, so there are increases that we decide on with our actuary that just determine where the pool is, like safety wise, based off of the history of claims that we've had as a total group for the pool. But we're never gonna come in and have that astronomical rate for you guys. we would eat that. So we would say, you know, you might get a 15% increase, which I've had some counties that even this year with the losses that they've had and whatnot, you know, they jumped up to 19%. But that's based off of the increase that they've had in property value and then exposures that they had. But we won't come in. That's the whole point of continuing to grow the pool. So that way, when it does happen, I'm not coming to you and you guys are having to contribute more so we can cover that cost. We will eat it ourselves. So that way we have the stability with the rates and you're not seeing that. I mean, we'll let you know, but we're not gonna come in and let you know, telling you your price doubled. And then savings. Mako works closely with our actuary to keep contributions low while still maintaining the health of the pool. Excess funds are quote returned to the members by investing in proper management. So we're not necessarily writing refund checks or anything along those lines, but we're investing to make sure that we're not losing anything on inflation and continuing to grow our investments. Coverage, we want to cover your claims. Private insurance or insurance carriers will find the smallest excuse to deny coverage. And one quick example I have there is we had a county that had a small shack and piece of land that they had no idea that they owned. They found out they owned it when it was struck by lightning. They went in to go assess it and it was a $75,000 pump. So we were able to go back and see, okay, they didn't just drop this off of their schedule to save money on premium. They genuinely, and even our appraisers didn't catch it in previous years that they had gone through there. So if you would have been with a private carrier, you would have just been SOL and you would have had to come out of pocket the $75,000 to get it covered. What we were able to do is basically do a calculation to determine if this would have been on the schedule prior, how much would it have cost, and then what was the deductible. So we determined the cost of adding it to the schedule would have been $250, and their deductible was $2,000 for that type of claim. So they ended up paying $2,250 instead of $75,000. The big seven or big six can handle those types of, you know, unexpected losses. Rural communities cannot.
Yeah.
So that's a, you know, a big deal and a big benefit from being in a pool situation that we're able to extend that coverage like that. Member driven, Mako members are our top priority and we provide risk management services to help with litigation defense, human resource assistance, land use guidance, finance guidance, and public safety risk management assessment. And I have a page on that on the very end that kind of reviews all of the people that we have that review or that go over those. So next page, this is our property, why property rates are increasing from our broker Gallagher. Hello.
Hey, hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Do you want me? Oh, here, I'm next door.
This is Hope Barker, just Brad, county attorney.
Nice to meet you. And then we're on, I think it's the third page,
Okay.
2024 catastrophic losses. So, from 1980 to 2020, there were a total of 8 catastrophic losses across the nation that cost the nation about $64 billion. Within the last 5 years, that's increased to 24, and that cost the nation $151 billion. So there's just a major increase in this. When I looked at it though, next year we'll start to see the fire over on the west side for California as they have those wildfires, and that's really the only similar exposure we have. We see tornadoes once in a blue moon, but they're not devastating the way it is down in Oklahoma, etc. And we obviously don't have hurricanes and whatnot. So I'm like, why does this affect us? There's nothing going on in Montana. It's the same way that we look at the counties. So it might not have happened here specifically, but if you had a claim in a different part of the county, it's still going to affect the county as a whole when we're reviewing exposure and incidents and whatnot. So it made it just a little bit more digestible for me when I was able to look at it as a nation, as a county, etc. Any questions on that one? No? All right. Next, we have the liability. Why aren't we seeing more rate relief in our liability side? All of these blue boxes are the reasonings why, but all the way over on the left is the main reason, the increasing propensity to sue. The size of the jury awards used to cost $100,000, and now what used to cost that much is paying out at $1 million. So it's significantly increased. And then courts, juries are favoring plaintiffs instead of just making decision based off of facts and the expert, they're tugging at their heartstrings and they're making decisions based on emotions because they feel bad, they were inconvenienced, etc. So they're making a decision based off of that. And then that leads us into the growing distrust of large corporations and litigation financing. Private equity groups are going in and funding litigation now, and on average, they're seeing a 20% return on investment. And I had heard through the grapevine, there was a potential class action lawsuit where they were gonna have 30 to 40 people in this class action. And once the private equity group determined that they were not going to be, or there was a higher risk that they weren't going to be as profitable at this, they might not win the case, they backed out from funding. Well, then everybody dropped out of the class action except for 3 people. So 3 people were willing to pay for their own attorney and the rest of them were like, oh, well, if I have to fit the bill and risk my money, then no, it's not worth it to me.
It's crazy, and it's hit in Montana.
Yeah.
You know, they call it, you know, litigation financing, I call it legal system abuse.
Yeah.
When you've got people that are actually funding lawsuits against a third party. For the benefit of trying to achieve a rate of return is pretty damning myself, but it's real, and we're dealing with it. And it's not as prevalent in Montana, but as we all know, what happens on the east or west coast eventually makes its way here. It takes time, but it eventually makes its way here, and litigation funding has occurred in Montana. As silly as that sounds.
Any other questions on this one? They're slightly frustrating.
So, just so I'm clear, for the benefit of the commissioners, these carriers on the program, Ambridge is on all casualty lines,
Yes,
so they're on, okay.
yeah.
And the property carrier is
Britt and Ambridge,
Brit
but
and
they
Ambridge?
are commingled, I guess you could say, yeah.
I'm aware of Brit and Ambridge, so, but on the property, who's on the
I
property?
think it's still Ambridge, I'm pretty sure, I can double check for you
I
though.
would like to know that.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep,
Just to
absolutely.
make sure that, yeah, when you get a chance, that's fine, and not today.
Okay, and then if you jump into the next page, this is your renewal comparison and your contribution this year. So you guys are actually seeing a 6.7% decrease from what you paid last year, which is fantastic. We actually had, for our rate setting meeting, we voted on a 2% increase for inflation, a 4% increase for property, and a 5% increase for liability. So overall, the pool's average was an 11% increase. And even with that, you guys had, just around a $2 million decrease in your property, total insured value, which, that partnered with your exposure and your loss ratio is what brought that down so significantly. So you are paying just over $18,000 less than what you paid last year.
So you said 11% average. Could you give me those again? 2% for inflation, 5% for property?
4% for property, 5% for liability, and that's actually 2 pages
Okay.
forward. I have it written, so you guys can have that as well. But yes, 2 for inflation, 4 for property,
Right.
5 for
But
liability.
you also said something that I gotta make sure I'm aware of. You said their property decreased. I don't see that here.
So.
They had a slight decrease in TIV on vehicles, but they had an increase in building and they had an increase in equipment.
Oh, I must have done that one wrong then.
How do we get the number of employees? When did we lose that many?
That was just what was reported to us. So we don't go into count, we just do it based off of what was
That's a
reported
survey
as to
that,
what you're.
that Mako sends out that we.
That don't really matter, the one that.
It shouldn't have a huge impact, but if that number is markedly incorrect, we probably should address it. But it shouldn't have a big impact on things.
Yeah.
But I just wanna make sure I'm clear, so the 24-25 property values is 13.2 million. The 25-26 is 14.8, is that correct?
Correct, yes. I must have just gotten a little dyslexic there and then
Okay.
done the wrong ones going back and forth.
No harm, no foul, I just wanted to make sure.
It's still, overall, the most important one is at the bottom and you are at 6.7% decrease, so But yes, and then, the total number of employees does affect that premium as well, or how it is, calculated. But, it's on the next page, as he was asking for the split on everything, or it's 2 pages back. But that one, it was $18.03 per employee prior for, let's see, so if you go past the deductibles and go one more to this page, that's where I have it all written down for you and broken out. So, for the fidelity and crime, previously it was $18.03 to where it increased by 90%, or excuse me, 90 cents per employee.
Hold on, whoa. Now say that again, please.
So if you go to the third one down on the left side, the fidelity and crime, it's currently at $18.93 per employee. But last year it was $18.03 per employee. So it increased about 90 cents per employee this year.
That's just for that line of coverage. the
Yes, that's
fidelity
just for
crime.
that particular one. And then just quickly, with the deductibles on the previous page, everything looks kosher here. I normally just review it to make sure that nothing is too high or too low and that you're at an average deductible, and this all looks fine there. I just didn't want to skip over it too much. But then, the most important part to me over here on this renewal summary as well with the breakdown is the breakdown of the vehicles, the equipment, and the building contents. And that's how we calculate everything as to what you're being charged for your contents, your buildings, your vehicles and equipment. So we had one county that had, called a few weeks ago, and they had a new shack that they were wanting to insure for just over $4,000. Asked what it would cost to add that to the schedule annually. So I took that 4,000 and some change, multiplied it by the 0.2787 and divided it by $100. There's $12 annually to add it to the schedule. So if that would have been my personal homeowners, it probably would have been about $120 per month to add that on to my policy at home. And, one of our biggest competitors, I believe it was before they increased, it was for their 24, 25, what they had their rates at, and they were at 30 cents per $100. So even after our rate increase, we still were below our biggest competitor in the market. Any questions on that one?
Just real quick, I'll interject, the deductible section here. The nice thing about the pool too is that they can right size the deductible depending on the size of the county. Right, so the larger, the Yellowstones, the Flatheads, the Gallatins, those have larger deductibles than Granite County or Powell County or, counties in, rural counties would have. So it's a nice mechanism, to be able to kind of right size that deductible. Granite County, if they have a hit, they can come up with the 2,000. They're not gonna, it's not like a $10,000 or $20,000 deductible for some lines of coverage for some of the larger counties. So just FYI.
And one of the things with that, when we change the deductibles on our vehicles, it can make a relatively big difference in the premium. So, when I was in college, my deductible was a lot lower, but I couldn't afford to have a higher deductible. And now I've increased that, but it changes my premium. With this, it does kind of right-side it. Unfortunately and fortunately, it kind of counterbalances the rural counties versus those big counties, because even if they have a $25,000 deductible, it's not making a massive change in premium, but they can afford that type of deductible to where the more rural counties cannot. So it's not like they're seeing an increased benefit because they're, have a bigger budget and are able to handle that.
I think we've been at 2,000 forever, haven't we, on our
Been a
deductible?
few years. It's been a few years.
Yeah.
Seems like, there's that one time that we were talking about going up to that other group, whatever. We were gonna look in that, but they wanted 5,000 or something.
Yeah, that sounds all right. And then the next page is the property and casualty loss ratios. So these look fantastic. And this is a big contributing factor as to how they calculate the premium again. So 21-22, you had a 16% for your liability loss ratio and a 62% for your property. And that's really the only one that stands out to me is that 21-22 property loss ratio. And we only do a 3-year loss run, so next year when we come in for renewals, that one won't be on there next year.
What was that?
If you go 2 pages over, let's see, 21-2. Property, so let's see, at the bottom, you had a sink overflow causing water damage to the courthouse main level. That ended up costing $31,367.81. Pipe froze causing interior water damage, just over $3,000 there. And then county vehicle sustained a hit and run, which was just over $12,000, about $12,500. So that's where those ones came from there. But like I said, if you have another year like you did for 22, 23, 23, 24, then next year when I come in, this could decrease again, because that's your biggest one is the 62%, so that will not be down there. And then the next page, this is more of just a visual, as to which departments are causing the biggest losses. Clerk and recorder at 44%, sheriff 25%, library 5%, and then county attorney at 26%. And then if you jump down, that's where it shows you what the claims were for each department.
Why is clerk quarter so high?
That's, let's see, law enforcement, law enforcement, and mission.
Why is a county attorney?
Yeah, county attorney.
Yeah.
Keep getting sued.
I don't know if that was just reported.
God, where did they be sitting at 44%?
So it looks like that one, the 31,368, they put that for clerk and recorder. It might have, the way that Bonnie has it organized, that one might have just been for the courthouse, because that amount for the 31,368 matches
Oh,
the
yeah.
claim for the sink overflow causing
Yeah.
water damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think that your actual clerk and recorder was causing problems. But-
The new bathrooms are a drain, so we should be good.
As long as they don't plug them too.
Yeah, right.
So you can kind of go back and match and see, okay, so county attorney was 18,775.
Which was probably the hit and run.
Yeah,
Ah,
so you can kind of break it down to see which ones are where there.
And you're.
and you wonder why we have fatigue.
Well, you compare that against other counties, that's pretty darn good.
Well, even-
That's exactly the point. It's like
Yeah.
the loss ratio, you know, and you know, you folks do a nice job. I'm trying to keep on top of things and, you know, county operations are challenging, right? There's a lot of hazard. There's law enforcement, there's equipment, there's heavy equipment, there's road, there's just a lot of what could be considered high hazard exposures. And so for us to have a loss ratio that is that relatively small, that's, you know, I'm sure some of it, there's a little bit of luck in there, don't get me wrong, but there's also some hard work by you guys, so that's good.
Good one. You need to hear that, right?
I did, I had one the other day and it was like 66% of it was sheriff and law enforcement. And they were not happy to see that, but that's very common. That's where our biggest liability is across the board is law enforcement. So, and even I'm looking here and it's claimant alleges malicious prosecution, and that, I hate to say that only, but $5,000 or inmate committed suicide, $0. That's normally like well into the 6-figure claims, like if it's justified, etc.
Actually just got served on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, great, okay.
On which one, the
The
suicide?
suicide,
For
yeah,
2022, okay,
just got served, so yeah, I'll make those, Dylan.
Okay.
Representative.
okay.
Who is the plaintiff's attorney?
Wagner and Missoula. Yeah, Nate Wagner.
Okay.
So did we assign them as an outside counsel? We did.
No, that's.
Oh,
No,
Dylan Gallagher is, defending us.
Oh, okay, got it. I was gonna say, I was like, hold on, Missoula, I haven't worked with anyone in Missoula yet.
No,
Okay,
that's the
I understand.
plaintiffs, yeah.
But yeah, those ones are, those can be relatively hefty depending on the circumstances. Any other questions there? No. The one that gets people riled up sometimes, like.
It's late in the day and you planned it.
Yeah. I made sure you were half
just
asleep.
wanted to-
Right. Usually what I do when I have those 19% increases, but this one was easier. The next two pages kind of go hand in hand. The second one is kind of a combination of the first pie chart that we have here. But that is one of the things that we get often is all you do is settle, you just pay people to go away. One of the gentlemen on my PCT board gives that to us all the time, and I got this data back and I was like, see, it's not true. But, so 50% of that resolved without indemnity. Indemnity means to make whole, so that means denied, nothing was paid out, etc. So it means we do not just pay people to go away 50% of the time. And this is for, I should have prefaced this, I've scared some people with that. This is for all of the counties, this is not just for you. So this is 10 years of total liability claims for everybody. And then 16% for settled medical or bodily injury. So anybody that was injured in a claim, we paid out on that. And then 34% settled indemnity. That could be from mediation, trial, etc. However, it was determined that they were paid out on that liability claim. And then next page, same thing, basically just a combination of everything. 67% resolved without indemnity, and then 33% combined settled indemnity or with paid out for bodily injury. Any questions on those ones? No?
Very good presentation.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. This is our last page. This is the risk management services. So when you get in trouble, these are the people that you call. Dan O'Malley, he was in narcotics for 20 years, and before he retired, he came to us at Mako. We joke that he's a personality hire, but when I put him to work, he's absolutely fantastic. He's a really good guy. And then Brandon Harris, he is our new peer review coordinator. He was with the Broadwater Sheriff's Department for 20 years, retired in December, and as undersheriff, and is now with us. There was a really big gap between law enforcement, whether it be jail commanders or sheriffs, between them and Mako, and they have done a fantastic job of closing that gap and showing that we are there to support them. We're here to help, etc. So they're going around and doing, even if they're not doing an official peer review yet, we've had a few counties that are like, just come in and put eyes on our facility. We have a high suicide rate or whatever the case may be, people at least attempting. So they come in, help out, are able to assess what's going on and kind of go from there, even if it's not their official peer review for the time. Mackenzie McCarthy, she's our general counsel and HR. So if you have anybody that you're looking at potentially terminating.
She's good.
Yes, she
Yeah.
is the one you want to call. Make sure that, procedures are followed properly. So that way, if there is a lawsuit, one benefit to that is, if you contact her and not just reach out and say, hey, we're terminating this person, but actually, make sure that the proper procedures are followed and whatnot. We waive that deductible if there is a lawsuit that comes out of that.
Yeah.
Karen Alley is our associate general counsel. She assists on those as well, but her main focus is zoning and land use. So she's a great resource there. And then Nancy Everson is our governmental finance director. We've gotten some really great reviews on her. She does trainings, and then has recently started something called Money Mondays. It's obviously a little different, balancing the pocketbooks here versus our own checkbooks. So she is a really great resource there if you have any questions at all. And then Carly King is our IT manager, and she got the Member Cybersecurity and Technology Group off the ground and has been really a great resource for anything IT related. We have somebody on call, so that way if dispatch has an issue at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're not, in a bind until someone comes to work the next day. We're able to assist them on that, which is fantastic. And then next page is basically everything I just explained, and very last page is all the contact information. Any questions, or was that too terribly painful?
No, good.
No, great, okay,
We might keep you around.
all right. Good to hear it. Like to hear
I
that.
think this picture was taken in May.
Was it really? That's been
I
my
think
biggest
so.
fear. I found like an official website that was saying it was through MSU, I think, that they had all of the county buildings on there. But that's been my biggest fear, is that I walk up to a county building and the picture that I have in here is not the building I'm walking into. So I'm like,
Cause that would have been the only time we would have taken it.
The door is independent.
No picture.
yeah.
I have one somewhere that was like, we got like 24 inches of snow.
Oh, wow.
That looks like the way it does 90% of the time around.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think it was.
So true.
Yeah,
Oh, and one thing, did you guys get any contact? I guess you might have gotten it, for the appraisal cycle?
Yes.
You did? Okay, great.
Yep.
So with that, there is the historic, option that we have. So anything that you would want to be restored to historic value, if there is a total loss, we have sent out a sheet for you to sign, but the only difference there is normally at appraisals, it is at no cost to the county at all. We eat the cost of that. But if you want historic value, so if it's a total loss, you replace like kind material, etc., it's gonna be $603 from the county's budget
For
that.
for a particular building.
That's
Yes.
what we're
For-
That'd just be on the courthouse, right? 'Cause that's the only-
well,
Yeah.
for the jail,
And I was gonna say the jail, maybe I saw they have the historic.
we don't have blueprints, so for either
Okay.
building, is that a deal breaker?
No, I mean, we're still going to assess everything. It's just what you're able to provide and then the contact person.
They've done some, well, they got some plans for the courthouse within the remodel, so,
Okay,
yeah.
What's up? And then the
We were
jail.
never able to find blueprints for the courthouse.
And that's 600 annually?
No,
No.
just one time.
Correct.
Bill one time
Yeah.
fee?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
Need some
per
info
building.
from us.
yeah. Just basically like a main contact person who can show them around, let them know where to go for all of the county owned properties. Sometimes they split it up by division, so like heads of crews, etc. And sometimes it's just one main person that has been here and knows all the dirty secrets.
Yeah.
Delegate.
I think she, yeah, Miranda said it was her.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. But no, so if you do decide to do historical replacement costs, cause we learned from that prior, so. We had one that had a loss and wanted to restore at historical, and normally it's just replacement, so it would be updated as new. But they decided last minute they wanted historical and ended up costing us like $12 million extra. So covered it, but we're not gonna, we're deciding now, like, hey, so we're prepared for that and charging accordingly.
Was it 600 just historic on this one and 600 on the jail?
Correct, yep, it would be per building that you would replace a historic.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, some people don't care at all and some people it's really important to, so.
For all
We
those
keep
courthouses.
going back
Yeah.
and saying this is historic and that, we could get a grant map before when they had that historic thing going, so. I
Look
guess
at
we're
some
going-
courthouses that are boxes and.
Yeah.
Plus it gives you the opportunity to get, something tangible in your hands, that a third party evaluated it and came up with a number that, you can kind of, well, obviously twofold, right? It helps you, but it helps the insurance company set the value appropriately. And so, while it's a $600 spend per building, it's only a one-time deal and it helps, I think, so, give some thought to that.
That make the premium go up for the building then?
Well, if it's a
First thing.
historic building and the
Yeah.
cost of construction goes up, then presumably
Yes,
it would cost more to insure it because we're
Right.
talking about a higher replacement cost. But again, back to Hope's point is the pool rates are pretty attractive. As she said, you add a shack on your own property and it's, insurance company's gonna get their premium
So
up.
that'll be on the renewal when it comes, or,
yes, the next year's renewal is.
cause I think we're all agree there on that 600.
Okay.
That would be for
Yeah, I
the
got it.
reappraisal.
Yeah,
Yep.
I got.
Oh,
Yep, so then you just sign that and get it over to us to let us know, so that when the appraiser comes in, that they are assessing it in a different way than they would for just basic replacement value.
You guys could do that as an agenda item.
Yep,
Okay.
make a motion for that, but, one other thing I forgot, for the only thing with building and contents that, I forgot to review, if you have any employees that are using their own tools, do you have any? No? Okay, well, that's great, but just for future reference, if you ever do, I have two stepbrothers that are mechanics, they have to provide their own tools to be a mechanic, and those are very expensive. If there's a total loss and their tools are in that building and they lose all of their tools, if we don't have an itemized list of everything that they had in there and what it would cost to replace it, they only get $5,000. Or they could have $30,000 worth of tools in there and $5,000 is like 2 wrenches on a good day. So was just, yeah,
Yes, this is kind of, so if you had somebody come in our shop and work and they caught fire and burn and he didn't have insurance,
if he's not a county employee, then that would be on him.
so he has to have that.
This is more for, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is more for your employees that may
Correct.
bring their own tools to the shop.
Yes.
And we're not saying we can't cover it, we're saying, but we should, if that happens, because mechanics are pretty, they're pretty parochial, they want their own, sometimes they want their own tools, they wanna use their own stuff,
Pretty picky.
and so. If that's the case, let us know and we'll endorse the policy such that we have employee tools at a higher value scheduled than, so if there was the loss, you have more than $5,000.
Probably tell them, don't have more than $5,000 of tools in there.
Yeah.
Steve had a couple things that's on that, no, we told him pretty much, we bought everything, that's why they put
Big
in.
thing would be like scanners or whatever nowadays for electronics, the scanners for
He has
plugging
one.
in.
It's ours, it's the county.
Oh,
That's a county piece of equipment.
Yeah.
He brought his own stuff a couple times, but it's pretty much like a one shot, just like,
Yeah,
but I mean, it's still one shot. If it
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it could get expensive if there's a total loss and they left it there overnight or, somebody didn't have it. Yeah,
Tell them not to have more than $5,000 worth of value.
yeah,
Or not just not bring your own tools.
yeah, bring those home. And like, if there's like someone contracted or something that brings their own stuff in and something were to happen, that would be on their own insurance. So that would be on the county if they're not a county employee.
You gotta really watch that.
Yeah,
'cause
make
we've had
sure
a
that-
few people come in and work in our shop with them. We haven't proved that they have insurance.
What do you mean you had a few people?
We have some contractors that work on stuff in our shop, use our shop.
Gotta show they have insurance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mechanics, but we need to make sure they have insurance, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
anytime you bring any service provider on, make sure they've got insurance, and frankly, they should be naming Granite County as an additional insured on their
Yes.
policy.
And they can provide a certificate of insurance.
We want your policy to respond to things that,
Yeah.
Granite County or its employees
Yeah.
may be responsible for. We don't wanna be covering something some other third party's responsible for. And so that additional insured status, and naming, Granite County as an additional insured is really critical.
Right, if you got Caterpillar or Modern or those guys coming in there.
They're all, they have
Yeah.
life, they
Yeah.
got proof of whatever.
But it's still, Commissioner Klasky, I would still recommend requiring the certificate
Yeah.
and having them name you, because
We used to-
big or small,
Yeah.
big or small, it doesn't matter, they
That's
can
something
have
that comes and
problems.
works on our equipment?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we
That's
print
why I
those out
don't-
all the time
if we
when
have-
they're needing to list like different counties as additional insured. So it's really easy to get. It should not be inconvenient. You
Yeah.
basically just call up your insurer. They edit a little bit of information to make it particular to you and send it off. So it's not as inconvenient as people make it seem
Right.
sometimes. We do them all the time.
It's like, we have, RTW, guy out in Drummond, we've had other guys come in, they use our shop and that, with their, make sure
Yeah.
they have that proof.
Yeah. Yes.
Name the county's additional insurance.
That's where Paul's.
They used our shop to work on our.
Yeah.
Okay,
But they gotta show.
that not their own.
No.
Okay,
On ours,
that's
they
what I
got,
didn't.
they're using their equipment on their
Okay.
tools on our equipment.
And that's where like Paul's gonna have to let us know. Or who's coming in, or
Yeah,
if they're scheduled.
That'd be a bad deal, and like on the, cause then they're covered on their own work comp and that too. So we don't, they're using their own stuff, right?
Yes, you should make sure that they provide you with a certificate of insurance that names Granite County as an additional insured, and on that certificate, they should also have work comp. The old adage, he was an independent contractor when he came to work on my house, and when he fell off the roof, he was my employee.
Right.
We want to avoid that.
Yes.
We got some people that come in, so they're,
Yeah.
I'll make sure.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, don't think you're being over the top or pain in the tail to request that stuff, because it is commonplace.
Yeah.
Yes.
It happens all the time.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so
we should.
we have been current and up to date and said, show us your insurance and
I think the only ones that have ever really showed us is like Caterpillar, and then we do
the one they come in.
These other guys, I don't think we've ever asked for that. And I think.
But we need to,
We need,
yeah.
it's gotta be mandatory. that
Yeah.
They have proof of their own insurance and. So
Yeah.
they get hooked, yeah.
And there's someone that's regularly coming in, we normally have this guy show up once, we have it on file, right?
Yeah, you know, I'd review it on an annual basis.
You're right.
You know, pay attention to the dates. And frankly, I'd have them have their broker send it to the county
Okay.
because
Yeah.
I'm not, I mean, there's some nefarious stuff out there. We've seen people dummy up certificates on their own
Oh.
just to portray that they have coverage and they don't. So have it sent from the broker to you. That's just a
So this is
good
something
step.
that Paul needs to be told, right? When he,
Right,
okay,
correct. We gotta make sure that we got.
We gotta stay on top of it too.
yeah,
There's a guy coming to work on that and.
Got no problem.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, could you, real quick, we have a work comp to go over as well. But if you could just for a moment, you mentioned in a previous meeting, Farley, with respect to the IT and the help and the potential to bring cyber back
Yeah,
into the fold. Keep in mind, a couple of years ago, the Mako program, cyber insurance was extremely challenging. And the reason you had it was so challenging was everybody was under attack and you had some counties that had real sophisticated IT departments, and then you had some smaller rural ones that didn't have their IT infrastructure in place or as good of. So all of that caused Mako to have to throw up their hands at that time and said, there's just too much disparity amongst the counties. We can't insure this. So they may be going back to that, which I think would be a good thing. I mean, we have your cyber policy in place, placed elsewhere, and I'm not prepared to talk about that renewal today.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing, if they can get it done. Again, the pool, you know, the law of large numbers and the economies of scale that they can get, it might be beneficial to look at that when they roll that out.
Okay.
So do you have anything to add on that? That's coming down the pike.
Yes, I apologize, I forgot about that one. But Carly and I have been working together to not potentially, we will eventually be able to put it out. Offer cybersecurity with the policies for property casualty. So we have been working with a broker, our broker Gallagher, and then their partners are off in London. But we're getting that off the ground to hopefully announce it at annual conference in September. And fingers crossed, have everything in place by December, so we'll be able to offer that for next calendar year. And then potentially doing either a 6-month or an 18-month policy, so that way we can get on a normal renewal the same way we are here.
So, yeah, all right, sorry.
No.
One thing I want to make sure that you're aware of too is some of those policies that had been placed on behalf of counties, outside of Mako, can be claims made policies.
Okay,
So we've got to be cognizant of the prior acts, the retro dates of the counties and picking up prior acts.
Okay.
So just park that in your mind
Okay.
when you're out.
We have cyber.
yeah,
Yes,
I thought so, yeah.
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, we had to change
Yeah,
gears
we
a
had to
couple of
change
years
it
ago,
because-
yeah, when Mako was not able to provide the coverage.
And then you found us.
Yes, we went out and found it, so.
we just didn't have anybody that was able to go through and make sure that the proper procedures were being followed for. So if there was a claim, that we could say, oh, they had multi-factor authentication, et cetera, and all of the things in place to be able to cover the claim. And now Carly has built up that team over the last year and is continuing to build it up. So that way we have people that can come in and make sure that anything IT related is up to standard. So that way we are able to cover it. But it was basically just a wash last time because, as he said, it just was a lot. It was new, and now we're able to really kind of hone in on that.
So I wanted to make sure you were all aware of that. I think it's welcome news if they can find it, and then it's a better, as good or better policy, and it's less expensive. By all means, just roll it right into this, and we can do away with that one at that time.
Yes.
Not be for 2026 if it goes
Yes.
through this fall.
Yep. So hopefully December is what we're looking at for right now, but it's a lot of moving parts. So like I said, hoping to announce in September at the annual conference and then get things rolling in December. So Eric Bryson was wanting us to, he's like, April, we're like, no. No, absolutely not,
And
so,
the other thing too, just so you can be aware of, is that some of the carriers, with whom cyber has been placed may have short rate refunds, so if they canceled off of their expiration date, the refund they'd be getting, they'd get a penalty on that a little, so just kind of keep all of that, lots of moving parts.
yeah,
And so I want to make sure that it is my role to advise the county. I want to make sure that their needs are met, and
Yeah.
those are the things that I would be looking at. I would be looking at claims made policies, the retroactive dates, that type of stuff. And then if we are canceling, does that result in a penalty, short rate penalty for them? Those are things that I'd be looking at as their advisor, so. And it may be, that the carrier that we have you with right now does have a short rate refund, and it may be that the option they have that they make available is far and away way better. And if that were the case, then we would just say, okay, incur the short rate penalty. Short rate penalty is if your policy costs you $100 and there's a short rate refund, if you're 6 months into the policy and you cancel it on your volition because you found something else, then the unearned premium, they would keep a portion of that. So that's what that means. So it may be that it's well worth your time and money to do that. We'll just have to play it by ear
Yeah.
and see what happens.
yes. So, and our broker knows about all of that, some of it's a little over my head and more in Carly's realm, so I just jump in when they need me, but yeah, she'll be able to give a lot more details on that. Yeah, other than that, that's all I got for you guys.
Nice job.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
you did a
much.
really nice job. Thank you here
Thank you,
for
sir.
coming over.
Yes, thanks for having me. Good luck with work comp.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
We got good news ×2 today.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I've been hearing good things about work comp, so I don't think it's going to be too painful, but
We got good news ×2. You're more
Great.
welcome to stay, or you.
actually, listen, I don't have anywhere to be after this. Just do what you're talking about then.
The fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, cause we work with, Montana State Fund for a few things, so.
Didn't bring in any.
That's perfectly fine.
All right, so what you got before you is spreadsheet, that we like to build on that shows a year-over-year comparison. And then the pages or after this, are the actual quote document itself. So 2024, 2025, class codes, good news, if you look at the actual manual rates, they all went down for the 25-26 policy period. So, bus, ambulance and emergency medical went from 391 per 100 in payroll down to 303. Municipal police officers went from 250 to 189. Municipal professional administrative went from 52 to 40 cents. Clerical workers went from 20 cents to 15 per 100 in payroll. Municipal administrative or non-professional went from $1.17 to 101. Municipal all other employees and drivers went from 446 to 428. Community service workers went down from 207 to 162. So the payroll went up, which was consistent with, any cost of living increases or whatever that the county offers. So last year's payroll was at 2.35 million. This year's payroll is at 2.45 or 42 million. The manual premium went down from 50,307 to 43,290. The far right columns, by the way, are the percent of the changes. Your employer's liability, which is your Part B limits on your workers' compensation under Montana law and the exclusive remedy doctrine. Your employee's sole recourse in the event of a work-related accident or fatality is to the work comp carrier. But the Part B limits are important. That's your employer's liability, your So we've got a 1.01% increase to bring those up to 1 million across the board. The Part B limits would be, you've seen Blaine, you've seen the loss of consortium lawsuits. Where a spouse is injured or killed in the workplace, his or her sole recourse is to the work comp carrier. But you'll see the third-party action over lawsuits where the spouse will bring an action against the employer, and that's where that's picked up. So that's important to be aware of as well.
Willful and wanton conduct.
Right,
Yeah.
right. The other bright spot here, frankly, and again, I commend you all here in the county for doing a nice job. The experience mod went down from a 1.03 to a 0.97, so that saved you 6 points right there. So the net effect is your workers' comp premium is almost $15,000 less than it was last year, or will be almost 15,000 less than it was last year. So that's, again, outstanding. You guys are doing a nice job. You hear me preaching at the safety committee meetings and about continuing to, press that, and it's paying off. And it's like pushing a boulder up a hill. You can't quit, otherwise you're gonna get blown over. So good work there. Any questions on that? Nope. So congratulations. And that is also, Granite County received a nice dividend last year as well. So that's something that, the state fund can't guarantee dividends, but they have a pretty darn good track record of, since 1999. They declared and paid dividends, to the tune of $476 million since 1999. Last year, they declared and paid 43 million alone. They've changed their dividend payment policy to what used to be a loss sensitive dividend program, which meant that you could be cooking along really good, and then all of a sudden you have one bad claim and your loss ratio gets blown up. You wouldn't be eligible for a dividend, which is unfortunate because you're doing all the right things. And you just happen to get snake bit by the claim. They changed that to an all policyholder dividend now. So that if they declare a dividend, all 22,000 policyholders that they have in force right now would get a portion of that. So that's good news. And last year it was pretty handsome, it was 26% or something like that. So very, very attractive. Good.
Do they partake in the blue versus the gold group?
No,
Okay.
Granite County elected to not participate in that a couple of years ago. And the reason for that is the relationship that we've had historically. They didn't like how it was handled at the outset in terms of bringing the Sydney agent in. And so they elected to stick with me. So it's something we could look at down the road, but I mean, at that time, they were pretty adamant that we were staying put. So.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like things clearly aren't working with what you've got going on, having the decrease that you just did.
And it's a tip my cap to you guys, and Jackie does a nice job, and she, I know it's a frustrating job and but it's really important that you all continue to send that message that, hey, this is important because it really is. These are the decision makers of the county. So if that message is driven by you all, it does work its way to the workers in the field. So good job. Good job. I mean, it's not every day that I can come in and have with hopes, deliver a decrease on the property and casualty and then also double it up with a decrease on the work comp. So good work.
Looking for a raise or what?
That gets sent out this fall. You can give them a raise this fall when you send out the agent appointment agreement.
No, thank
Nice
you.
work.
No.
I do, as I mentioned, I will be back. I don't have a cyber renewal available yet. And when I get that, I'll be back in.
No, thank you for working with us.
I appreciate it, and I enjoy working with you all. I mean, I think we've done a lot of good things together, and I look forward to continuing those. And it's a constant evolution of effort. We might be dealing with something 3 weeks or 3 months from now that is totally different than what we've been talking about for the last 5 years. But know that you have resources. You have NACO loss control risk management resources. You have MMA risk management resources. You have the Montana State Fund Risk Management Resources, so we're here to try and help.
Are you wanting a motion on the Montana State Fund proposal now?
It's up to you, I mean, I guess technically we probably need to have, to renew it, but.
Yeah, you have enough for decision, so you can do a motion.
I'd entertain a motion to renew the.
So the property and casualty insurance coverage. Is that the only motion you need, or do we?
Just
For
workers'
now,
comp.
I guess you probably have two separate motions
Okay.
because you have two different parties. So you've got the property casualty with the Mako and then the workers' comp with the Montana State.
So to review the property and casualty insurance with Mako for the next.
Do you want to wait on that?
That's up to you. The only thing I was going to say is if you purchase anything or sell anything between now and June 15th, we bind on June 15th. And then the renewal policy starts on July 1. So that can fluctuate if you add or take away anything from the schedule. If it stays the same, that's what you're gonna be paying. But just to keep in mind, if you wanted to wait on a motion, just
I
to.
think we're gonna just add that 600 for each historic building on, so.
Okay.
That's on the
Yeah, that-
appraisal.
Yep, so that won't be added to
Yeah.
your premium. That would just be a
Yeah, you can
different
do both.
always, basically.
So to wait on that then,
Yeah, you could
wait on that.
you could do it now. On the,
Okay, so we're not gonna buy anything that we're gonna throw on there. Not gonna buy.
Well, even if you do, we can do it with the
We're not
policy.
gonna
Yeah,
buy.
yeah. Like I
One of
said,
those
it's
great
$12 for the
big
$4,000
and
shack,
put
so
it
it's
back
not like it's
together.
gonna be a $7,000 increase, but yeah.
Are you sure? Okay, so.
You know,
This is just renewing
yeah.
our policy with Mako on property and casualty insurance.
Second,
Public comment? Being none, all in favor?
I,
Aye, motion carried pass.
Great.
Okay, so.
Workers' comp one.
Now we got this other.
Everyone got money from it. It is less, so remember that.
Yeah.
Renew our policy for the 25-26 workers' compensation. It's a good deal, went down, so we're definitely.
second,
Public comment? Being none, all in favor?
I
Motion carried pass.
Unanimous. Makes it easy.
Thank you all again.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you
it.
so much.
Nice meeting you.
Very nice.
Really good presentation.
Thank you very much. I
Good
appreciate
job.
it.
both of you.
Good job.
Yeah, and I will say, I will applaud him as well, because I was in private insurance prior to being in this, but I just did, the basics, and covering this as an agent is very, very, very different and very difficult, and you can tell the ones that actually pay attention first are like, I think this will work, and then we have a claim where it very clearly does not work. So I will applaud him on that as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
So Rhodey's a keeper then.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he's a keeper. I haven't had any difficult conversations with him yet, so I'm gonna say keep him.
well, they're coming.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, George. Appreciate it.
Yes, good job to you. Yeah, thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
See you, thanks.
You bet.
Good to see
It's
you.
good to see you.
So we'll just do that cyber thing, right?
As soon as it
And-
comes
and-
out, I'll be back over here.
Whatever.
I was hoping it was in. but
Okay.
They're dragging their feet a little bit on the renewals, so, and I'm not expecting any market changes on that. We're starting to see, a few years ago, it was really a challenging placement.
Yeah,
And we're starting to see some more capacity come into the market, and so, that's helping,
Well, I think on this work comp thing, that we've all
You got that.
got our crap together and we're
Letter.
sticking to work,
Yeah.
we got people telling us what to do, and now we're just, either you do it or you go home.
Yeah, and and I know it's challenging, but I just would encourage us
Okay,
to
good.
keep the foot on the gas.
That's what I think we're doing.
You just, because it does, it shows that we've had a school district the other day, are we on, and when we are, oh,
are we off?
I make a motion, we adjourn, or I guess.
you can't, you're the chair.
You can just do it.
Motion, we adjourn.
You can just do it. You can just adjourn it as chair.
I guess